EMO stood on the high stage reading the announcements of MOU Immortal sect. They weren't willing to talk. No one wanted to offend them. But at this time, a loud voice interrupted the silent square. Wuxia Sound River Wuhe Immortal Emperor. Sect leader Lu Li come to congratulate MOU Immortal sect opening ceremony and have something to report to Dragon River Grand Emperor. Wei Feng Grand Emperor and sect leader Yi. EMO just finished and was taken over by Wuhui Immortal Emperor. He was a bit annoyed. If someone else dared to be like this, there would be people to reproach him, but Wuhui Immortal Emperor, despite being an Immortal Emperor primary stage, was still an Immortal Emperor. EMO glanced at Wuhui Immortal Emperor's face and said plainly, "Thank you, Wuhui Immortal Emperor. Please have a seat. The sect opening ceremony isn't over." Wuhiu Immortal Emperor, who had always been scared of EMO, actually continued speaking. Sect leader Yi. "This issue today isn't small. I have to tell everyone as quickly as possible." To EMO, there was nothing as important as his sect opening ceremony. Just when he was going to interrupt Wuhui Immortal Emperor, Wuhui Immortal Emperor continued, "My Wuxia Sound River martial ancestor Wuhua was probably killed. Before he died, he sent back an important news. And I found news about Mu Xiaoyun. Sect leader Yi, please." Wuhui Immortal Emperor, "Please come in with me." Hearing Mu Xiaoyun, EMO said excitedly. Xiaoyun disappeared at Wuxia Sound River. He asked the people there and they said Wu Ying took her. Wu Ying was killed by his divine damnation, and so there were things he couldn't ask. Sect leader Yi. Wuhui asked that all Immortal Emperor masters come together. Wuhui Immortal Emperor then gave EMO a jade slip. Sect leader Yi. "This is the person who took Mu Xiaoyun and the place she might go." "Okay." EMO nodded. He was slightly calmer now and then thought of Wuhua Immortal Emperor. He heard that Wuhua Immortal Emperor was a half-divine. In the immortal realm, he was definitely the top amongst the top. How could someone like him die for no reason? EMO put away the jade slip and understood who took Mu Xiaoyun. In the immortal realm, there was an ancient emperor sect called Gemini Emperor sect. They took in disciples that were twins. They had this twin cultivation method that could allow twins to be invincible amongst their peers. Although one didn't dare to say twin cultivation method had no weaknesses, it had the least weakness. Whether there was weakness in domain or god art, it would be filled up by the other person. The person who took Mu Xiaoyun was from this sect. She was called Luo Biue. She has a twin sister, Luo Xiuhua. Luo Biue was secretly taken back to Wuxia Sound River by Wu Ying Immortal Emperor. There was no reason why, but EMO could tell that Luo Biue had a way to vindicate Dao. Wu Ying Immortal Emperor wanted to take this and thus imprisoned Luo Biue. After Wu Ying Immortal Emperor brought Mu Xiaoyun back, Luo Biue somehow broke free and fled with Mu Xiaoyun. EMO knew that Wuhui Immortal Emperor's jade slip was probably authentic. After all, Wuxia Sound River just lost two top immortal emperors. The remaining Wuhiu and Wuyu Immortal Emperor were much weaker. Wuhui Immortal Emperor. "Where is that Gemini Emperor sect?" EMO asked. Wuhi Immortal Emperor smiled bitterly. Sect leader Yi. Gemini Emperor sect had disappeared for countless years. It's even more mysterious than the Ice God Palace. I don't know the exact location. I know the Gemini Emperor sect, but that was countless years ago before the immortal realm broke apart. It's in the palsy of the current Yu heaven near the falling snow volcano. Wu Chun Divine Emperor added. EMO looked at the other immortal emperors. Only Kaimi nodded. No one else knew about the location. The Emperor sect was really too ancient. Even someone like Dragon River Grand Emperor didn't know its exact location. "Thank you, Chu Chun Qian Bei. Everyone please sit." As they spoke, they have come to the guest hall. When everyone sat down, EMO said to Wuhui Immortal Emperor, "Wuhui Immortal Emperor, say what important thing you have to say." "Thank you, sect leader Yi." Wuhui quickly got up and saluted with his fists. Then Wuhui's tone became serious. Our Wuxia Sound River number 1, Immortal Emperor Wuhua, was hunting Zhou Fan, Immortal Pawns Luan Shao, Immortal Emperor. They've been chasing in the void for 100 years, and they both went into a void palace. From there, they went into another realm. However, Wuhua ancestor found something extremely terrifying there. He saw two people whose cultivation level he couldn't see through battle. He found that if he faced any of them, he wouldn't last more than 10 seconds. What? Wu Hui Immortal Emperor's words shocked all the Immortal Emperors here. Only Yimo and Kaimi glanced at each other, seeing the worry in each other's eyes. Clearly that palace was the palace they had been to. That palace was the formation heart of a formation that segregated the chi of a realm. Because Feng Kong Grand Emperor and them forced it open, it crippled a formation base and the chi was seeping out. Yimo repaired the formation base but didn't expect it stopped working this quickly. In the eyes of the other Immortal Emperors, Wu Hua Immortal Emperor was the pinnacle of the immortal realm. Other than Divine Emperor, he almost had no match. If someone could kill him in 10 seconds, wouldn't that person be beyond Divine Emperor? We've been to that place, it's probably that palace after you go through the void lethal force dimension. I've been in there but there's nothing there. It's all mist there and you can't go very far. Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. What happened afterwards? Dragon River Grand Emperor frowned. He did go with Wuyin and Feng Kong Ot that palace. There was mist everywhere and one couldn't go out at all. They worked together and left after a few decades. It was unimaginable if there was someone that strong in there but they didn't encounter them. Wu Hua Martial Ancestor knew that they saw him, so he immediately sent back a crystal ball saying that he would be killed for sure. At the same time, he suspected that he went into the fabled realm that disappeared. But there are still countless masters in that realm. If the people of this realm enter the immortal realm will no longer exist. It will be forged into a truth spirit world. These people definitely have this capability. Then Wu Hui Immortal Emperor showed a crystal ball and said, "This is the crystal ball Wu Hua Martial Ancestor sent back through the crack." He suspects that this crack would eventually be found. In the crystal ball, two immortals were battling. Everyone here was Immortal Emperor and they could easily tell how terrifying the battle was. There was no sound of their god art, but the world-destroying Dao runes were obvious. It was as though with one move of a finger an entire heaven domain would crumble. This power was too terrifying. At this moment, the scene was dead silent. After a long while, Wei Feng Grand Emperor asked, "Wu Hui Immortal Emperor, is there any more news from Wu Hua Immortal Emperor after he sent this back?" Wu Hui Immortal Emperor shook his head. "No. I think the martial ancestor is probably in grave danger." Kaimi sighed and got up. "I'll explain this to everyone because Chu Chun and I both know what that place is called." "What is it?" the Immortal Emperors asked in unison. "God Necropolis Domain," Kaimi and Chu Chun said at the same time. Kaimi scanned the Immortal Emperors here before saying heavily, "This thing actually has to do with many of the Immortal Emperors here. That formation is broken due to you guys." Seeing everyone look at each other, Kaimi just told them what he and Yimo saw and heard as well as what Yimo did. Hearing this, everyone looked at Yimo. Everyone didn't expect that Yimo filled up such a threat for everyone alone. It wasn't completely filled, but it lasted a few decades. Sect Leader Yi, thank you for your contribution to the formation. This isn't personal relations, but whether our immortal realm heritage can be continued. I've heard that the reason the immortal realm was split into the 33 heaven domains was because a master charged into the immortal realm. If I'm not wrong, that person probably came from the God Necropolis domain, right? Dragon River Grand Emperor got up and saluted with his fists to Yimo. Chuchen Divine Emperor said with a bleak face, "That's right. This person came from God Necropolis domain." His soul was almost disintegrated by that person throwing a heaven domain at him. If it wasn't Truth Divine Emperor who released the Immortal Carnage Tower, he wouldn't even be able to sit here. He had this detest towards people from the God Necropolis domain. Dragon River Grand Emperor bowed to Chuchen Divine Emperor and said, "Everyone, it's no bluff saying that MOU Immortal Sect is the #1 sect in the immortal realm. I'm not trying to bring enmity towards MOU Immortal Sect because it's the fact that they have 2 divine emperors. In the 33 heaven domains, there might be a few sect with more than 6 immortal emperors, but would you say any emperor sect is stronger than MOU Immortal Sect?" Dragon River Grand Emperor glanced around and almost all the immortal emperors nodded. MOU Immortal Sect was indeed the #1 sect. They might not have a solid foundation, They lacked masters below Immortal Emperor, but the measure of an emperor sect's power is not on Immortal Monarch and Immortal King but Immortal Emperors. So even if a sect only had an Immortal Emperor primary stage, it wasn't something that countless monarch sects could compare to. Seeing everyone agree, Dragon River Grand Emperor waved his hand again and said, God Necropolis domain is something everyone knows now. Only one person came and our immortal realm was split apart with laws missing. If a few or more than 10 came, they would definitely fight over our immortal realm. By then would there be a palm-sized land of the immortal realm left? I agree to Dragon River Grand Emperor. If we let people from the God Necropolis domain come into our immortal realm might become the backyard in someone's pocket. Xianxia Immortal Emperor got up and said. The other immortal emperors all signaled that they agreed. Dragon River Grand Emperor nodded and continued to say, I wasn't the only one who went to that Void Palace formation heart. Many people have been there. I believe that palace may have been set there by a Chen Bei of the immortal realm. However, we weren't able to recognize the place and instead broke the formation heart. If sect leader Yi didn't remedy the situation, the consequence would be unimaginable. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor immediately said, Dragon River Grand Emperor. If you have any suggestions then say it. As long as it can prevent people from the God Necropolis domain from discovering our immortal realm, I will definitely support it to the end. Okay. Dragon River Grand Emperor said, the urgent thing is that we organize the immortal emperors of the immortal realm to block this formation and repair it. Sect leader Yi can repair this formation, so his formation skills are probably better than ours. Since sect leader Yi is also the #1 sect of the immortal realm, I suggest sect leader Yi take the lead and lead us to repairing this formation. Of course, we also need to gather the top formation grandmasters in the immortal realm to help sect leader Yi. Dragon River Grand Emperor's words immediately got the approval of everyone. Just when Yemo wanted to talk, Dragon River Grand Emperor said again, I'll reveal something here. When we left from the Void Formation door, we searched for decades in the mist before we could come back. I got a few ores that are similar to immortal crystals, but it doesn't contain immortal spirit chi. However, it's very beneficial to our cultivation. My power has recently grown due to this, or I feel it's beyond immortal crystals. Then, Dragon River Grand Emperor took out an ore that wasn't very big, but emitted a milky white aura. Seeing this, Wei Feng Grand Emperor took out one too. I got a few too. Kaimi and Chuchen Divine Emperor immediately took the ore and studied it for a while. Kaimi then said, if I'm not wrong, this is the cultivation crystal of that realm. It seems our guess is right. God Necropolis domain is indeed a higher realm that was destroyed. Kaimi then gave the ore to Yemo. Yemo clutched it and lightly absorbed. He was very joyful. This ore was more beneficial than immortal crystals. He was Immortal Emperor middle stage now. Using immortal crystals and extreme-grade immortal ranges to cultivate was very slow. Plus, extreme-grade immortal crystals and extreme-grade immortal range was rare. Just when Yemo was troubled about how to improve his power, he didn't expect to encounter such ore. Sect leader Yi, how is it? Dragon River Grand Emperor asked. Yemo put the crystal down. It's indeed something beyond immortal crystals. Yemo was thinking about how to get these stones already. He knew that the reason MOU Immortal Sect had its status wasn't because he repaired the formation but due to his power. Seeing everyone look at him, Yemo thought and said, Kaimi and I have seen that formation heart. We know that it must be repaired and sealed up again or the immortal realm will be destroyed. I think we should let my MOU Immortal Sect's martial brother Kaimi and Dragon River Grand Emperor take people there first. I'll go to Falling Snowfire Mountain first and then I'll come. Okay, then we'll go first. Wei Feng Grand Emperor go invite Feng Kong Grand Emperor and the other formation grandmasters. At the same time, open the teleportation formation between the low, middle and grand heaven domains. We must stop the catastrophe at all costs. Dragon River Grand Emperor said. Some immortal emperors left but the sect opening ceremony was still going on. Su Jingwen and Tang Beiwei were unwilling to see Yemo leave when he only came back for 10 years, but they knew he had to leave. Yemo left behind large amounts of cultivation resource. Tang Beiwei and Su Jingwen had decided to put all their time on cultivation to try help Yi-Mo earlier. It was easier for Yi-Mo to leave this time. Not only was his cultivation level at the peak of the immortal realm, but his status was completely different too. The teleportation formations that he couldn't use before could now be used. Yi-Mo headed straight for Yu Heaven. Yi-Mo had another purpose here, and that was to find the purple-robed man and get the 5th stone stool. He asked Dragon River Grand Emperor and them and knew that this purple-robed man was very powerful, only slightly weaker than Dragon River Grand Emperor. Plus, no one knew this purple-robed man's origin. He had caught Dragon River Grand Emperor and Feng Kong Grand Emperor's attention when he kept selling the stone stool. They had come in contact and knew that he was strong and came from Yu Heaven. This was because his first auction was held in Yu Heaven. Even Dragon River Grand Emperor didn't know the specifics of this man. The Snowfire Mountain was just as its name describes. Snow falling everywhere onto the volcano, forming a strange scene. Yi-Mo stood at the outskirts and was a bit disappointed. All the immortal spirit chi nearby had been removed by the ice and fire. There was no sect within hundreds of thousands of km radius. Clearly, this place wasn't suitable for sect survival. Yi-Mo slowly neared the mountain. When he came to the bottom of the mountain, that terrifying flame wave charged into the depth of his meridians. Before his immortal essence completely blocked them, a deep frost chi came striking by. Even at the outskirts of the immortal god body, it was only extreme cold, not extreme cold mixed with terrifying heat. In that instant, the outer layer of clothes on Yi-Mo disappeared. Yi-Mo's body refinement immortal essence moved, and that extreme cold and heat could only stick to the surface of his body and not go inside. So powerful, Yi-Mo exclaimed. In this place of extreme heat and cold, even an immortal emperor wouldn't be able to take it if he was an immortal god body. After running his body refinement cultivation method, Yi-Mo found that this place was very suitable for body refinement. He could even feel his body refinement constantly improving. Yi-Mo used all his immortal essence to refine his body while slowly moving to the top of the mountain. As Yi-Mo gradually went into the mood, his body refinement immortal essence formed a balance with the outside world. It completely barricaded external influence. When those palm-sized snowflakes fell on the volcano, it would slowly melt, but when it fell on Yi-Mo, it couldn't melt and just stacked up. A few days later, Yi-Mo was completely covered in snow. From a distance, he seemed like a moving snow mountain. This was the first time Yi-Mo entered into a statement of enlightenment for body refinement. He felt his body refinement cultivation constantly improve. He reached Immortal God Body peak stage from Immortal God Body tertiary stage. After an unknown amount of time, just when Yi-Mo was about to break through Immortal God Body and reach Divine Body, his body refinement cultivation suddenly paused. Yi-Mo still hadn't woken up from that feeling. He kept gathering the immortal essence in his body to refine his body. Waves of extreme heat and cold charged at Yi-Mo. Yi-Mo kept using these chi to charge towards Divine Body. A few hundred or thousand times had passed, but he still couldn't reach Divine Body. Yi-Mo frowned. He felt that state of enlightenment was disappearing. Just when he decided to try again, he sensed a different chi. The next moment, Yi-Mo completely woke up and scanned his spirit sense out. He found he was at the top of the mountain. Where he stood had flames seeping out. The snow had formed a mountain peak on him, but he wasn't the only here. There were many peaks, and when he scanned his spirit sense inside, he found there were bodies inside just like the ice forest of the Ice God Palace. Clearly, those who were dead were once powerful beings. Yi-Mo's spirit sense fell only 1,000 meters ahead. There was a person laying there. The different chi he sensed was from this person. Yi-Mo knew this person wasn't dead yet, but she wasn't far from death. It was a woman who was Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Her clothes had long been melted. Only a thin layer covered her chest and lower abdomen. Every other part of her body was exposed to the flame and snow. She was definitely Immortal God Body cultivation level, otherwise she wouldn't be able to live till now. Just when Yi-Mo wanted to shake off the snow on him, he heard this sound. He immediately knew someone else came to the top of the mountain. He didn't shake off his snow and instead stealthed his chi. A few seconds later, a white light landed on the top of the mountain. Emo could tell this defense-flying magic artifact was a half-god artifact. This is a half-god defense artifact. Without it, we wouldn't be able to get here even though we're immortal spirit body tertiary stage. A immortal emperor tertiary stage man wearing gray robes said. There was a female immortal behind him, immortal emperor middle stage. She was extremely pretty. How is it, Brother Han, I didn't trick you right? Even though she's a mortal god body, she wouldn't be able to open Gemini Emperor Sec's ancient teleportation formation and leave. The woman sneered at the female immortal laying on the ground. Martial Sister Binglan is smart indeed. Brother Han grabbed the woman's hand. The love in his eyes seemed like it was about to melt the woman. Binglan smiled sweetly. Brother Han, we can't dual cultivate here. After we leave, I'm going to dual cultivate with you, Brother Han said excitedly. Binglan smiled again. Of course. I'm going to see my dear sister Xiaoju. Brother Han, we only have immortal spirit body, so we need to be careful. Sister Binglan, don't worry. How can I not be careful? Brother Han laughed and sped up to Binglan. Io? Binglan seemed to have noticed something and suddenly sped up to the woman on the ground. Look, Brother Han. Binglan's tone was desperate. Just when Brother Han went up, he suddenly felt a powerful tearing force surround him. The next moment, Brother Han knew he was ambushed. He immediately released defense magic artifact, but it was too late. Rumble. Binglan's snow-white hand smashed on Brother Han. Brother Han immediately spat blood and flew out. Before Brother Han landed, Binglan released another red band. A white glove appeared on her hand. I Binglan, you bitch. We were just sleeping together a few days ago and now you attack me. Slut. Brother Han was spitting blood while cursing. He released a black shining flame dragon tooth. Binglan sneered in contempt. Lu Huahan, don't disgust me. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. After I tricked my martial sister to the mountaintop, I know you're gonna kill me next. Plus, why should I let you use my Gemini Emperor sect teleportation formation? I gave my virginity to you. Be grateful. Plus, if I don't ambush you, you're going to ambush me. Lu Huahan. I've long seen through what sort of thing you are. I Binglan said, but she didn't attack slow at all. The red band already brought waves of red flowers that surrounded all the space near Lu Huahan. The two weren't immortal god body, and despite using half-god artifact to come to the top, it was hard for them to battle here. In just a few moves, the two couldn't handle it anymore. They had to stop in this disastrous environment to use their cultivation method to protect themselves. However, Lu Huahan was ambushed and more heavily injured. His cultivation level was higher than I Binglan, but the key thing here was body refinement cultivation level. Emo shook off the snow on him and slowly walked over. Emo didn't plan to let these two go nor let them die. Seeing a nearby snow peak melt and Emo slowly walk out, the two were completely dazed. Emo's cultivation level was only Immortal Emperor middle stage, but he casually walked at the peak as though not affected at all. They immediately knew that Emo was definitely a top-level body refinement immortal. Who are you? The two asked at the same time. It's not important who I am, but you guys spoke about Gemini Emperor sect, right? Emo walked towards the naked woman and asked casually. I Binglan and Lu Huahan glanced at each other. They were just fighting to the death before, but now they jumped Emo at the same time. The red wave flowers swept towards Emo. I Binglan was very annoyed. If this wasn't the peak of the mountain, her red band could sweep all the nearby space and make Emo defenseless. Of course, that's just what she thought. Lu Huahan's flame dragon tooth made humming sounds as a hideous black dragon appeared. Rings of flames circulated the dragon's head. Roar! The black dragon carried this heaven-devouring force that almost devoured Emo and the woman on the ground. Emo stopped. His domain surged out and the surrounding space seemed to have paused at this moment. That extreme cold and hot was also swept away by Emo's domain. A barrier that almost materialized stretched out. The two's face changed. Such powerful domain, such powerful force, they were definitely no match. Plus, at the top of the mountain, they would need to use extra power while Emo wasn't affected at all. The red band wave was swept back while Lu Huahan's black dragon made a sharp shriek. But this wasn't the end. The next moment, a piercing purple ray shot out from behind Emo. When the purple ray sliced by, Lu Huahan and I Binglan just felt their body shivering. That huge dragon herd immediately withered after the purple color passed. Meanwhile, the purple color didn't weaken at all. There was a bloody mist on Luh Huahan. Scratch. I Binglan's red band was weaker than the dragon tooth and was just ripped apart by the purple light. Before I Binglan could think, she smashed at the purple ray with the hand wearing the glove. A thud later, the purple color moved aside a little and sliced past I Binglan's shoulder, bringing out a bloody mist too. The two looked dazedly at Emo, but both of them lost an arm. Lu Huahan was worse. Half of his body was gone. There was terror in their eyes. Even though the fire mountain could affect them, they were still immortal emperor power. Two immortal emperors couldn't even last one round in his hand? What was this person? Even if a divine emperor came, he would probably only be like this. Your glove is quite good. Emo glanced at I Binglan's glove. Then he threw a pill into the mouth of the woman laying down. Moments later, the woman woke up. She immediately got up but realized she was pretty much naked. In her embarrassment and fury, she quickly put on a set of clothes and yelled at I Binglan, "Big sister, why did you harm me?" She soon saw that I Binglan and Lu Huahan was missing an arm. She had completely realized now that their arms were probably cut off by Emo. Perhaps she was saved by Emo. No need to look, I saved you. Emo glanced at the two and said, "Tell me your purpose of coming here and tell me about the Gemini sect too. If you hide anything, I will kill you." The woman cast her embarrassment aside and quickly bowed to Emo. "Chen Bei, Wan Bei, I Shouju. I came from Gemini sect. Chen Bei can ask me. Shouju will tell whatever I know." Emo nodded. He was happy with I Shouju's attitude. "Tell me where the Gemini sect is, and which people are in the sect, as well as what your purpose here is?" I Shouju immediately said, "The Gemini sect is long gone. Only some scattered sect members remain outside trying to find talented twins to inherit the cultivation method. I'm from the sect, but I've never been to the sect. I only know eyes around here. Other than twin cultivation method, the sect also has body refinement cultivation method. The snow volcano had always been the body refinement cultivation grounds. I came here this time because my martial sister lured me here. She said there's a teleportation formation to the sect at the top of the mountain. I came to look for that teleportation formation." I Shouju looked at I Binglan and said, "Sister said that she didn't want to go to the sect as she found someone she liked, so she wanted to be with him. She gave me the teleportation formation jade card. Now I know it's not teleportation jade card, but the formation card to activate the extreme heat and cold." I Shouju sighed. After activating this jade card, I realized that those with these cards would be surrounded by extreme heat and cold and unable to escape. If no one is around to save you when you're unconscious, you would die. Why do you want to kill your sister? Emo looked at I Binglan. I Binglan quickly said, "The snow volcano is the place for Gemini sect members to break through to immortal god body. Usually, it's two people breaking through at the same time. My talent isn't as good as Shouju, and she reached immortal god body first. I was planning to use her to reach immortal god body. Then, Emo didn't need her to explain to know what was going on. I Binglan wanted to use I Shouju's body to cleanse the extreme heat and cold and then use that to refine her own body. That way she would have a chance to reach immortal god body. From this, Emo knew that I Binglan was shameless and had no morality. Emo said with disgust, "Since this is a cultivation ground, why would I Shouju fall unconscious?" I Binglan answered, "Because no one has cultivated here for countless years. The extreme heat and cold and stacked to an extreme. Even immortal god body tertiary stage might not be able to withstand it, much less immortal god body primary stage." Emo scanned where I Shouju was laying and found a subtle stealth formation there. The formation was probably where the sect members came for body refinement. The extreme heat and cold was very pure. Emo walked over to there and ran his body refinement cultivation method. Extremely pure heat and cold filled Emo's body and constantly refined his body. This place was much better for body refinement than other places. There were all sorts of impure chi at other places, and even with the 3-birth chant, Emo would have to remove it first. But here, one could just devour that chi for body refinement straight away. Soon Yemo left here. It was indeed suitable for body refinement, but he had reached the peak of immortal god body. There was no point in cultivating here. Seeing Yemo go into the formation and come out so casually, there was more shock in Binglan's eyes. Yemo was the strongest body refinement cultivator she had seen. His power was also out of this world. She had actually never heard of such person. So that teleportation formation is fake? You don't know where the sect is. Yemo's tone became harsh. Binglan said in horror, Chen Bei, please have mercy. Yemo sneered. If you tell me things that satisfy me, I won't kill you. If you keep bullshitting, you want me to keep talking. Binglan rejoiced and quickly said, Chen Bei, the teleportation formation is real. When my master taught us, she didn't take us to the sect, so we don't know where it is to. Where does the teleportation formation lead to? Where is the teleportation formation? Who is your master? Yemo asked. Binglan didn't dare to hide anything at all. It said to teleport to where the sect used to be. As for the location, I only know it's near the snow volcano. My master is called Luo Biue. Hearing this name, Yemo was overjoyed. Yemo's tone calmed down due to his mood. Where's your master Luo Biue? Seeing Yemo's tone go calm on mention of her master's name, Binglan wondered if Yemo was related to her master, but she realized she didn't know where her master was either. Seeing Yemo's face grow worse, Binglan quickly said, Chen Bei, my master never came back to us after leaving us. I think she might have left through the teleportation formation. Disappointment surged in Yemo's heart. He then asked, where is the approximate location of the Gemini Emperor sect? 30,000 kilometers to 300,000 kilometers west of the volcano. Binglan said. Last question. Where are there so many snow peaks at the top, and why are there bodies underneath it? Yemo asked. Wanbei don't know this, but I know what happened at the sect. There was a huge battle at the top of the snow volcano. Wanbei don't know if the snow peaks were left from then. Binglan quickly said. Before she finished, Yemo already disappeared in a dashing light. Shouju looked dazedly at Yemo's figure. Ever since she came out, she had never seen someone as terrifying as Yemo. At the same time Yemo left, Binglan's red band swept at Lu Huahan. Lu Huahan didn't dare to do anything in front of Yemo, but facing Binglan, he didn't fear at all. While Binglan ambushed him, he ambushed her at the same time. They both thought the same thing. Sister, hurry up and help me. This person tricked me to ambush you. Binglan looked at Shouju asking for help. Shouju suddenly released a blue ray. Her cultivation level was the highest and her injuries had recovered. She was immortal god body, so she wasn't affected by the mountain. The instant Shouju released the blue ray, it locked onto Lu Huahan and sliced past his body, bringing out bloody mist. From now on, we are no longer sisters, Shouju said, and then disappeared in a dashing light too. Yemo had left the snow volcano. His spirit sense expanded quickly. He was desperate. After all, he had to go to that void palace soon, and he didn't know what dangers were there or when he could come back. So he had to find Xiaoyun quickly and send her back to MOU Immortal sect. Otherwise, his heart can't go to rest. The void palace was once again filled with people, and everyone here were famous in the immortal realm. Even the few immortal monarchs here were peak formation Grand Master. Ordinary people didn't have the right to be here. Dragon River Grand Emperor. What's going on? The formation here seemed to have been repaired. A formation Grand Master studied the space formation door and asked. Then he shook his head. With my formation skills, I definitely can't repair this place. I can't even see 10 to 20% of it. The other immortal emperors and Dragon River looked at Kaimi. Dragon Drive Grand Emperor asked, Kaimi Qianbei, is the formation here repaired by sect leader Yi? If it is, then we can't help at all. Everyone here are top formation Grand Masters, but none of them can understand this formation. Kaimi looked at it carefully. No, I'm certain that after sect leader Yi and I left, someone else came here to repair the formation. When sect leader Yi repaired the formation, I was there. Sect leader Ye's repair definitely wasn't as perfect as this. There was still cheese spilling. But now, this formation isn't spilling anything at all. It's 100 times better than sect leader Ye's repair. The Immortal Emperors and Formation Grand Masters glanced at each other. What Kaimi meant was that after Wuhua Immortal Emperor came in here, another powerful being repaired the barrier formation completely. When sect leader Yi repaired this formation, he used a few years. If that powerful being really repaired the formation after Wuhua Immortal Emperor went in, then that powerful being is too scary. It's less than a few months. Kaimi stared at the formation door and said in shock. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor said, if I'm not wrong, when we broke the formation, it started the powerful being that first set the formation. That Qian Bei came back to repair it. So that means we don't need to repair this formation? Another formation Grand Master asked. Kaimi nodded. If this formation is really repaired by that Qian Bei, then we don't need to repair it indeed. This formation is so profound, and I'm guessing it's not something of the immortal realm. We have the best immortal formation Grand Masters in the immortal realm gathered here, but only sect leader Yi can know a little about this. Even sect leader Yi can only repair it a little. He couldn't completely reset it like this. Since this Qian Bei repaired this formation, I think we should send people to guard here to prevent similar things from happening again. I agree to Kaimi Qian Bei. Wei Feng Grand Emperor immediately said. Since Wei Feng Grand Emperor said this, other people agreed. There's a stone tablet here. Another immortal emperor looked at the formation door and said. Next to the door, a huge stone tablet was slowly revealing itself. Soon, it became clear and everyone could see the words on it. This formation seals the qi of the immortal realm, but it's not a long-term solution. Eventually, the people from the broken realm would come into the immortal realm from here. How can the immortal realm be safe? Those with great will can enter the broken realm and vindicate primordial essence Tao and protect the two realms. Those with great wisdom can enter the broken realm from here and perfect the laws. Fill broken realm and repair immortal realm. To prevent insidious people coming back to spirit control immortal realm after achieving Tao essence. Those who enter from here can't come back. Those who aren't immortal emperors can't enter too. After repairing this formation, I've lost all my power. If this formation breaks again, there's nothing I can do. After reading this, everyone looked at the Grand Emperors in confusion. What does this mean? What's vindicate primordial essence Tao? Can the immortal realm be repaired? Yuan Yun Immortal Emperor asked the question everyone wanted to know. Kaimi got up and saluted with his fists. Since the formation is repaired, I'll explain things here. I completely understand this stone tablet. Everyone held their breath and listened. In the ancient times, there was a realm above the immortal realm. It's just like how Cultivation realm ascended to immortal realm. But for some reason, the realm was destroyed, but not all the people there died. Those who could survive in that realm are powerful beings. Kaimi Qian Bei, you're saying that Tao Vindication Divine Emperor isn't the highest state? Zhang Ren Immortal Emperor asked in shock. Kaimi nodded, that's right. Tao Vindication Divine Emperor is only the first step to seeking Tao. The first step of Tao Vindication Divine Emperor is Tao Molding Divine Emperor, Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, and Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Only once you reach Tao Actualization Divine Emperor can you barely be considered a Divine Emperor. What? Those who haven't heard about this took in a cold breath. Even Feng Kong Grand Emperor and Dragon River Grand Emperor were speechless. They had always thought that if they vindicated Tao, they would be the pinnacle of the immortal realm. However, Tao Vindication was only the first step. Kaimi said seriously, at that time we only knew after battling with someone from the God Necropolis domain. The immortal realm had 9 divine emperors, but only Truth Divine Emperor reached Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. That's why the immortal realm was beaten into 33 heaven domains by that powerful being. If that powerful being wasn't seriously injured and Truth Divine Emperor had Immortal Carnage Tower, the immortal realm would have been someone's truth spirit world already. Kaimi Qian Bei, may I ask what the second step and third step to Tao seeking is? Dragon River and Feng Kong Grand Emperor had completely set aside their attitude as Grand Emperor and bowed to Kaimi, asking. The other immortal emperors also listened intently. Kaimi Divine Emperor continued, after the first step Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, it will be Tao Vindication second step Tao Essence Divine Emperor. I know that after Tao Essence it will be third step Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. Only once you become a primordial essence divine emperor can you be truly called divine emperor. Everyone fell silent. They had thought that immortal emperor was at the pinnacle of the immortal realm, but now they realized that immortal emperor was nothing. No wonder the two beings in Wu Hui's crystal ball were that powerful. They're all beyond Tao molding divine emperor. If these people came to the immortal realm, how can the immortal realm be safe? Zhang Ren, immortal emperor, said in shock. So that's what vindicate primordial essence Tao meant. This isn't easy at all. Another immortal emperor said with dejection. I'm going in the space formation door to seek higher level fortunes. Otherwise, if I stay here, I'm just waiting to die of old age. Jin Hui, immortal emperor, said. Those who reached immortal emperor had very firm minds. The immortal emperor whose side was rare. Many other immortal emperors conformed to what Jin Hui, immortal emperor, said. Dragon River Grand Emperor stood out and said, everyone, we've always been chasing that slim chance of reaching higher levels of Tao. Now that we know there's chance to higher level, I believe no one wants to give up this opportunity. At the same time, the immortal realm is our root. If the immortal realm is destroyed, we would have no root. I hope that after we enter the new realm, we can let other people have a chance to come in too. Dragon River Grand Emperor, just say it. Only now do I realize I'm the frog at the bottom of a well. After I enter the new realm, I will support to the end no matter what request Grand Emperor has. Feng Zhang, immortal emperor, said. Dragon River got straight to the point. I hope we set a top-level formation here and a teleportation formation. Those who reach immortal emperor and want to enter the broken realm to cultivate can go through here. Another thing is to send someone here to guard it. Outside the snow volcano, Yemo had searched for 4 days. He almost searched within a 500,000 kilometers range west of the snow volcano carefully, but still didn't find any signs of the Gemini sect. He didn't even see a stealth formation. This region was barren and little immortal spirit chi. It was just a frozen land. When the 5th day was about to pass, Yemo became more disappointed. He was certain the Gemini sect's location wasn't here. It seemed a bit hard to find the sect and then find Luo Biue and then find Mu Xiaoyun. Yemo's spirit sense extended further and a familiar dashing light crossed the border of his spirit sense. Yemo immediately caught that dashing light. It was Xianlan Merchant Association's Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor. He didn't expect to see this guy again today. Originally, Yemo didn't want to care about it, but when another dashing light passed the border of his spirit sense, Yemo's killing intent rose immediately. The dashing light who was hunting Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor was someone Yemo HD never seen before, but I recognized this person immediately. He looked like a block of wood and his face was tree skin. Who else would it be other than that Yuan Muxian who captured Tang Beiwei? It was too normal that Yuan Muxian was hunting Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor. Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor spilled the news of Yuan Muxian capturing Tang Beiwei to him. Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor knew that he was going to be hunted when he said it. Now it really seemed so. Yemo immediately hunted over but found Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor turn into the direction of the snow volcano. Clearly, Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor wanted to go in there and use the environment to fight for his life. Yuan Muxian's speed was clearly faster than Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor. If it wasn't that Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor's flying magic artifact was better than Yuan Muxian's, Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor would have been caught by Yuan Muxian already. Yemo stopped. Zhong Kong brushed past Yemo, but Yemo didn't care. He was going to stop Yuan Muxian. When Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor brushed past Yemo, he immediately saw Yemo and turned back in surprise and joy. Sect leader Yi. Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor quickly bowed to Yemo. The person hunting you is Yuan Muxian? Yemo stared at the nearing dashing light and asked coldly. Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor breathed and answered, yes, that's Yuan Muxian. I came to hide at Yu Heaven, but that bastard is still hunting me. Please help me, sect leader Yi. Yemo nodded. I'm going to kill this block of wood without a doubt. Feeling Yemo's dense killing intent, Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor subconsciously shivered and didn't answer. He was hiding from Yuan Muxian everywhere that he didn't even know Yemo's battle with Feng Kong Grand Emperor, nor the MOU Immortal Sect opening ceremony. When Yemo finished the sentence, Yuan Muxian appeared before Yemo and glanced at Yemo and said, "Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor," in contempt. "You found an Immortal Emperor middle stage to escape from me? Keep dreaming. I'll let you know what fear is. Little bastard. If you don't want to die, then piss off. Don't wait till your ancestor Mu to annihilate you." Yuan Muxian waved his hand and a bell appeared in his hand. It made a casual ring and Yemo felt his heart seemed to have been burnt by fire. What made it more unbearable was that this person's voice was like rats biting rotten wood. It was disgusting. Yemo nodded. This should be Yuan Muxian's famous magic artifact, Lu Ming Guang Yen Bell. No wonder Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor, felt so threatened by Yuan Muxian. Yuan Muxian hid his power, but Yemo could tell Yuan Muxian was Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. "You're Yuan Muxian?" Yemo waved his hand and Zisu appeared in his hand while his killing intent spurred. "Who are you?" Yuan Muxian frowned and asked when he felt Yemo's powerful killing intent and dominant domain. "Mou Immortal Sect Yemo. I've wanted to kill you for a long time." Zisu flashed and God Art Crevice was released. This Crevice God Art was different to before. It fused the killing intent of the Qingwei Abyssal River. "So you're Yemo. I was planning to go to Mou Immortal Sect to kill you, but now that I see you today, it saves me the trouble of going there," Yuan Muxian said and released the bell. A soul-shocking sound came from the bell that mixed with the flame which then fused with his domain. This flame domain was actually burning Yemo's domain. Yemo waved Shadowless out and said, "Shadowless, prevent this old rotten wood from running away. If necessary, eat him." As Yemo's power increased, he didn't need Shadowless many of the times. Shadowless was very bored, and now that Yemo let him out to eat, how could he give up such opportunity? "Don't worry, boss. Although the wood might not taste good, I'll still eat it." Yuan Muxian was furious. The bell burst out and rings of invisible flames ravaged the nearby space. Small cracks appeared in the space. Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor, looked at this shock. Such magic artifact that could burn space meant a few of him wouldn't be a match for Yuan Muxian. Zisu's God Art Sword Ray had sliced through tens of kms of space. That lethal force made Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor, quickly retreat. Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor, was quite dejected. Whether it was Yuan Muxian or Yemo, they weren't someone he could take on. Clank. Sword Ray clashed with Yuan Muxian's Immortal Emperor domain, creating this metal clashing sound. Yuan Muxian's domain was immediately opened a crack. Before this crack could grow in size, the bell made a desperate ring and that crack was filled. The flame in the domain intensified. The bell sound almost materialized and invaded the surrounding 10,000 kilometers of space. Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor, was affected by this and spat blood again while retreating even more. Even Yemo was affected by this bell sound a little, and his Crevice God Art paused for a moment. His killing intent paused too. Shadowless was furious and bit down. The terrifying domain of Yuan Muxian was immediately bitten off a piece. The broken domain could no longer stop Yemo's Zisu. Zisu expanded and sliced across the entire space. Yuan Muxian felt his soul and essence spirit was taken away by this strike. The extreme intense lethal force gradually bound him and he slowly lost his battle will inside the killing intent. Not good. Yuan Muxian's battle experience was ample. He immediately knew he was no match for Yemo, much less Yemo had a immortal spirit beast that could devour domain to help him. Yuan Muxian could care anymore and threw out a few hand signs. The bell expanded and in just a second, the bell spewed out countless flame beasts. They also had this soul-devouring sound as they charged at Yemo. Yemo was furious. He just needed to change his Crevice God Art a bit and could completely suppress the bell. However, Yuan Muxian kept playing fire in front of him. Yemo didn't use Zisu anymore and instead put it away. He punched out. Flame Fist God Art, 5-stack wave kill. Rumble. A 30 kilometers tall blue fire wall erupted and the surrounding snow was instantly melted. The wall stopped all the flame beasts. Inside the wall there was sounds of wails. Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor, from a distance called out in shock, "Immortal flame blue like morning sky God Art." He was completely numb. The reason he succumbed to Yemo was because he knew he was no match, but now he realized he underestimated Yemo. Immortal flame God Art? Yuan Muxian knew fire, and this terrifying flame was definitely immortal flame. He knew blue like morning sky. More than half the beasts were burned to death. Before Yuan Muxian could gasp, the second flame wall was here. There was 2 walls. Yuan Muxian's heart sunk. He had decided to flee as far as he could after escaping from this god art. Before he finished the thought, the 3rd and 4th wall came. Despair flashed across Yuan Muxian's eyes. What guy was this? He could use 4 fire walls. If he knew Yimo was this powerful, he would have fled already. His bell flames were nothing compared to Yimo's flame god art. Yuan Muxian couldn't escape from the space binding coming with the flame waves. He could only take it head on. Yuan Muxian's tree bark like skin started to seep out black oil. Yuan Muxian kept burning essence blood and immortal essence while the bell wailed. It grew even bigger, wanting to block Yimo's fire wall. The fire wall clashed with the bell. The bell instantly shrunk and Yimo's fire wall dimmed down. Yuan Muxian breathed easy. This dimmed flame might heavily injure him, but there was no way for it to kill him. But the next moment, he was completely dazed. He saw an even stronger 5th wall smashing over. This time he was truly terrified. How much spirit sense and immortal essence would be needed to use immortal flame and smash out 5 walls consecutively like this? How terrifying was Yimo's control over flame. He really wanted to flee immediately, but he was bound by the wave kill. The only thing he could do was cover himself in the bell. Rumble. The 5th flame wall came and the bell was covered in flames. In a few seconds it shrunk to a palm-sized bell. Yuan Muxian howled and was thrown out by the bell and turned into a ball of flame. Inside the flame, a tree root kept shaking and begging for mercy. So you really are a block of wood. Yimo sneered as his immortal essence rose and the sound in the flame suddenly stopped. Dust flew everywhere. There were tree roots becoming self-conscious, but this was the first time Yimo saw one cultivate to Yuan Muxian's level. However, since Beiwei almost died in his hands, how could Yimo let Yuan Muxian live? The 5 fire walls smashed out an extremely deep ravine at the battlefield. Even space itself was rippling due to the flames. Sect Leader Yi, thank you for saving my life. If I didn't see Sect Leader Yi today, I probably wouldn't be alive. Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor suppressed his shock and bowed to Yimo. He knew Yimo was strong, but didn't expect Yimo was this strong. He could easily kill Yuan Muxian. None of the 4 Grand Emperors could do this easily. Didn't this mean Yimo was equal to or even beyond the 4 Grand Emperors? Yimo took Yuan Muxian's storage ring and the dull bell. I've long wanted to kill this bastard. Now that I saw him today, how could I let him go? Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor thanked again and said, Sect Leader Yi, I have nowhere to go now. Yuan Muxian is dead and the power behind Xianlan Merchant Association still hasn't come out. I'm quite unsettled. I want to join MOU Immortal Sect, but I'm afraid that might bring trouble to MOU Immortal Sect. Yimo smiled. Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor, I annihilated Xianlan Merchant Association and I ordered it to be shut down. Even if you don't join, would the Merchant Association not come for trouble? I'm never afraid of any trouble. If Brother Zhong Kong wants to join my MOU Immortal Sect, I welcome you greatly. If what Xianxia said was true, the power behind the Xian Immortal Ascension Merchant Association is that Blood Cauldron Grand Emperor who might still be injured. He wasn't even scared of Feng Kong Grand Emperor. How could he be scared of Blood Cauldron Grand Emperor? Thank you for taking me in Sect Leader Yi. Zhong Kong is willing to join MOU Immortal Sect. Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor said in joy. Yimo gave a jade card to Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor. Go to Gonghua Heaven and find Ji Lei Immortal Emperor. Let him bring you into the sect. Ji Lei Immortal Emperor is now part of MOU Immortal Sect? Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor was dazed. He thought that after he joined MOU Immortal Sect, he would be the strongest after the sect leader. Yimo nodded. Yeah, other than me, there are 2 Divine Emperors. They are Kai Mi and Chu Chun Divine Emperor. There are 3 Immortal Emperors. Qingwei Abyssal Rivers Dunyang, Ji Lei Immortal Emperor, and He Chong Immortal Emperor. With you, there will be 4 Immortal Emperors. Hearing this, Zhong Kong Immortal Emperor was completely numb. Was this a low heaven domain sect? This was clearly the #1 sect of the immortal realm. With such power in the immortal realm, which sect could compare with them? He was an immortal emperor primary stage. This was nothing in the MOU immortal sect. After a long while, Zhongkong immortal emperor recovered and said, "Sect leader Yi, are you going back to the sect now?" Emo shook his head. "I still have some things I can't go back yet. You can go and choose a peak for your cultivation home. As for the sect rules, Lu Feng will tell you." Zhongkong immortal emperor left and Yemo left Yu heaven in disappointment. A few days later, Yemo came to the Void Palace. He thought there would be tens of people here, but when he came, he only saw 3 here. Other than Kaimi, there was Kuei Qian immortal emperor and Shen Kuan immortal emperor. On top of that, Yemo found there was a long-distance teleportation formation here. Before Yemo asked anything, the 3 immortal emperors came up to greet Yemo. "What is this?" Yemo asked and then immediately saw the stone tablet there. He had repaired this palace before, and now with one glance, Yemo knew this place was repaired again. The person who did this had much greater skills than him. Yemo didn't look at the tablet and just studied the formation, thinking, when did the immortal realm have such a formation master? Sect leader, the formation here was indeed reset by a powerful being. The person is the person we guessed before. Have a look at the tablet and you'll know, Kaimi explained. He waited here for Yemo. Yemo looked at the tablet once. Some immortal emperors have entered the other realm through the void formation door. Some people went back to their sects to arrange things. The teleportation formation here is newly set. It goes to Fendu Heaven. Kuei Qian Immortal Emperor and Shun Kuan Immortal Emperor are the guardians here, Kaimi said. Yemo breathed easy. Since this formation was repaired, he wouldn't need to worry so much. Although that the powerful being said this formation was only a temporary solution, Yemo believed he would reach Dao Vindication sooner or later. He had to go into the God Necropolis domain. Plus, he needed to go see why the Cultivation realm couldn't have Immortal Ascension again. Kuei Qian Immortal Emperor and Shinkuan Immortal Emperor saw that Yemo seemed to need to talk to Kaimi, so they moved to the side. Yemo waved up a sound barrier restriction and asked, "Brother Kaimi, I want to go to the Cultivation realm but I can't find a way down. I can't tear open the Immortal realm void now." Hearing this, Kaimi frowned. Sect leader, it's not easy to go to the Cultivation realm. When I helped Lu Zhengxuan go to the Cultivation realm, I used an ancient realm traversing formation as well as a few realm traversing rune. It can only let hollow immortals go down or golden immortals who suppress their power to hollow immortal. Great immortals definitely can't go down and that ancient formation can no longer be used. Yemo's heart sunk. If he can't go down, how he can solve the issue? Sect leader, why are you desperate to go down to the Cultivation realm? Kaimi saw Yemo's face wasn't too good and asked. Luo Yu Cultivation realm couldn't have Immortal Ascension. I broke a few seal flags in the West Extreme State. However, in such a short time they can't ascend again, so I want to see. Yemo sighed. Kaimi blushed and bowed to Yemo. Sect leader, I taught Lu Jingxuan to do this to protect some things. At the same time, I opened another formation. Not only the Luo Yu Cultivation realm cultivators, but the other Cultivation realm cultivators can't ascend either. The seal flag you broke has self-repair function. Within time, it would completely repair and prevent the Cultivation realm from ascending. Don't worry, sect leader. Leave this to me. Yemo realized. No wonder the rest of the seal flags that exploded disappeared. They were stealthed and only made the illusion that they exploded. Not right. Yemo immediately remembered that Lu Jingxuan hid the world tree at Luo Yu continent. Why did Kaimi seal the other Cultivation realm's Immortal Ascension tunnel? Kaimi was cunning and without Yemo needed to ask, he said, if only Luo Yu Cultivation realm was prevented from Immortal Ascension and people noticed, perhaps they would soon be able to find out about the world tree. I took Lu Jingxuan to activate the ancient Immortal Ascension restriction formation, allowing countless Cultivation realms to be unable to Immortal Ascend. That way, no one would be able to find their way to Luo Yu continent. The Immortal realm has an Immortal Ascension restriction formation? Yemo asked in confusion. Kaimi nodded. That's right, This formation is to restrict the cultivators ascending to the immortal realm, since most immortal ascension cultivators are extremely talented. Emo asked with more confusion, "Isn't that good for the immortal realm? Why limit their immortal ascension?" Kaimi said, "I'm not very sure about this either. I just heard in the ancient times the immortal realm wasn't just inhabited by immortals, there were also immortal spirit beast and immortal demonic realm. Comparatively, immortals were the weakest of the three, but whenever the immortal realm had talented cultivators ascend to the immortal realm, these cultivators would soon grow to the peak immortal emperors. The immortal spirit beasts and immortal demons didn't have such an advantage. As time went on, immortals had more advantage and devoured large amounts of their land. Eventually, the entire immortal realm became the world of the immortals. Immortal spirit beasts and immortal demons diminished, becoming the pets of immortals. Even if they exist somewhere, it would be faraway corners. Hearing about immortal demons, Emo thought of Zhongpiao Heaven. They were almost annihilated by immortal demons. If he didn't use his heaven flame 9 suns, there would be no immortals in Zhongpiao Heaven. If there could be that many demonic immortal spirit beasts there, who's to say it would appear elsewhere? You're saying that the immortal ascension restriction formation isn't set up by immortals but demonic immortal spirit beast or immortal spirit beast? Emo asked. That's right. They want to prevent the prodigies of the immortal realm ascending, so they set up that formation. Despite this, the immortal demonic realm was gradually taken over by immortals, and the immortal spirit beast went into those harsh lands. Kaimi answered and said, "Where is that formation? Since you opened the formation, why can I break the immortal ascension restriction at Luo Yu continent? This formation is Jinshang Heaven. All 9 divine emperors know about this formation. Jinshang Heaven was named after this formation. Because this formation isn't complete, and after this many years of ruins, it no longer has the effect to restrict immortal ascension. I used my secret treasure to barely allow Lu Jingxuan to repair the formation. Even if I don't touch it, the formation would disappear after a while. As for West Extreme State Sand River, I set up seal flags just for there. The thing was at Luo Yu continent and I was afraid its chi would spill, so I set up seal flags just for it." Emo finally understood and said, "Go to Jinshang Heaven and destroy this immortal ascension restriction formation. There's also another thing I want to ask you. You probably set up the demon realm in West Extreme State, right? Is the Heaven Gang 36 domains in the West Extreme State related to you?" Kaimi denied. "I only set up a barrier formation at Luo Yu continent. I don't know about the 36 heaven domains and wouldn't care about such a little thing in the cultivation realm. I did let Lu Zhengxuan set up the demon realm, but that's just to hide the chi of the tree." "I understand," Emo said. "By the way, Dragon River Grand Emperor asked me to tell you something. You asked him about the purple-robed man. There's news of him now. He knew about the thing here and used the Void Formation Gate to enter the Broken Realm," Kaimi said. Emo was shocked. "You said that the purple-robed man entered through here? What about Dragon River Grand Emperor?" Kaimi could tell that the purple-robed man was very important to Emo and said, "Dragon River Grand Emperor went back to organize things. After that, he will be entering the Broken Realm from here." "When did that purple-robed man leave?" Emo asked desperately. The purple-robed man probably already knew about him and the stone stools. That's why he wanted to go to the higher realm to vindicate Dao. If he vindicated Dao first, then Emo would have to flee again. Thinking about this, Emo no longer had the mood to stay here. He quickly said to Kaimi, "Open the Immortal Ascension Tunnel to the Cultivation Realm and you can vindicate Dao in the sect. I have to go into the Broken Realm now. If the other Immortal Emperors in MOU Immortal Sect want to enter the Broken Realm, there has to be at least 1 Immortal Emperor guarding the sect. I understand, before I vindicate Dao again I won't go to the Broken Realm," Kaimi said. Emo left things to Kaimi and greeted the other 2 Immortal Emperors before charging in. He definitely couldn't allow that purple-robed man to vindicate Dao first. The stone stool was too important to him. His Dao and future would be related to it. At the same time in the Ice God Palace, tens of Ice God Palace sect members stood on the 2 sides. Sitting at the top was the big palace lord Su Lian. Qing Ru, master, chose her own path. We need to respect her decision. Now that our saint has returned, the Ice God Palace will soon no longer shut itself in this icy world. It's time for us to offer our power for the Ice God Palace. A green-robed woman was speaking. This was the third palace lord. Yes, Qingru, we're really happy you can come back. I believe the big palace lord is even happier. I just hope you can help Xianxia and let her lead Ice God Palace to be the #1 sect in the immortal realm. The big palace lord said softly. Qingru got up and bowed. Big and third palace lord. Qingru is determined to leave, but this is the first time our Ice God Palace is participating in the Eternal Night Forest trial. Qingru will help Saint Xianxia at all cost. Palace Lord Su Lian sighed and said nothing more. Qingru sighed. She knew others thought she was leaving because her saint position was taken away, but only she knew it wasn't. She wanted to leave because she saw the scene she saw in the cultivation realm here again. Countless women were frozen into ice peaks just for the saint heritage of the Ice God Palace. Just for the Ice God Palace to have an extremely strong saint. She was very disappointed in this practice. The previous big palace lord couldn't stand this and thus resigned and left. The Ice God Palace only had one true saint in history, and that was Saint Xianxia. Every time Xianxia couldn't reincarnate, they would find a substitute. The most powerful one in the Ice God Palace wasn't the Palace Lord nor Immortal Emperor but Saint Xianxia. The Ice God Palace had always sealed their sect, but one simple word from Xianxia broke this tradition of many years to participate in the Eternal Night Forest trial. She just said, "If everyone hides at home to cultivate, we will never become the #1 Emperor sect in the immortal realm." Eternal Night Forest was a secret realm in Jinshang Heaven that provided immortals below Great Immortal to go trial. There were some rare treasures, but the lethality rate was very high. That's why the big and third palace lord kept asking Qingru to protect Nia Xianxia. Nia Xianxia sat at the right of the top seat and her face was extremely calm. "In that case, let's move out now. I'll lead the sect members this time," third palace lord said. Dashing lights left the Ice God Palace. Qingru controlled her flying ship calmly. She looked back at the distancing Ice God Palace and had made up her mind. She would never come back again. "Martial Sister Qingru, can I ride your flying ship?" Nia Xianxia chased up to Qingru and smiled. "Of course." Qingru smiled and slowed her ship, opening the restrictions. Nia Xianxia put away her flying magic artifact and landed on Qingru's flying ship. "Martial Sister Qingru, your flying ship is so pretty. Its design is completely different than ours." Nia Xianxia immediately felt something on this ship. The design was familiar to her, but it was different from all the other flying magic artifacts of the immortal realm. A friend of mine gave me this. Saint Xianxia, please have a seat." Qingru poured a cup of immortal tea for Nia Xianxia. Nia Xianxia drank it and said, "Your friend is really nice to you. If I'm not wrong, this is an extreme grade flying magic artifact that's beyond a level 9 immortal artifact." Qingru smiled. "Probably. I still haven't congratulated Saint Xianxia on returning to the Ice God Palace. Qingru will cheer Saint a cup of tea." Then, Qingru brought up the tea and drank. Nia Xianxia sighed. "Martial Sister Qingru, if you really consider me a sister, then call me Martial Sister Xianxia. No matter what my previous life was, you're my martial sister now. It seems so distant to call me Saint Xianxia." "Okay, Martial Sister Xianxia. I'll drink first for respect." Qingru finished the cup. Nia Xianxia drank the entire cup too and then said to Qingru, "Martial Sister Qingru, are you so set on leaving the Ice God Palace due to me?" "Martial Sister Qingru, your talent is no weaker than mine. In terms of looks, although I'm very confident, I know I'm far from you. You're the most beautiful out of all the women I've seen. You're actually more suited to be the saint than me." Qingru fell silent for a long time before saying slowly, "Martial Sister Xianxia, I'm not good at expressing my thoughts. If I say it's not due to you, then that would be a lie, but the real reason isn't what you think. Qingru is only happy that you can come back to the Ice God Palace and be the saint. I'm not jealous at all." Qingru left the Ice God Palace not due to Nia Xianxia becoming the saint, but because of what Ice God Palace did in order to welcome back the saint and the heritage. After the big palace lord left, the ice god palace was no longer the same ice god palace. Xianxia fell silent. After a long while, she asked, Martial Sister Qing Ru, in the times you've had before, was there someone you liked or someone who liked you? Qing Ru looked dazedly at Xianxia. They were all Dao cultivators, so she didn't know why Xianxia asked this. But now that she did, she thought carefully. She realized that there really wasn't someone she liked. As for whether anyone like her, she didn't know either. Do you have someone you want to repay a favor? Xianxia asked Qing Ru, but seemed to be asking herself too. The face of the previous big palace lord flashed across her mind. She owed the most in her life to the previous big palace lord. Then she thought of Yemo. He brought her from the cultivation realm to the ice god palace and saved her with level 9 immortal pills and gave her a flying magic artifact. Xianxia asked but didn't seem to need a response. She then said to herself, I couldn't have come to the ice god palace in this lifetime, but he brought me to the cultivation realm and then to the immortal realm. He saved me more than once and even, he's the person you like. Qing Ru saw Xianxia stop talking and asked. Xianxia nodded. Yes, if I didn't know I was the ice god palace saint, if I didn't know about all these things. Xianxia fell silent. If she didn't know all this, she wouldn't do those things. When she became the first ice god palace saint, she swore to her martial ancestor and heaven Dao that if she couldn't lead Ice God Palace to be the highest sect in the immortal realm, she would never vindicate Dao. Anything that prevented her from vindicating Dao would be killed mercilessly. Qing Ru did speak. She really wanted to ask who was the man Xianxia liked and where was he now. Seeing Qing Ru's expression, Xianxia laughed in self-mockery. In order to bring Ice God Palace to the peak, I wouldn't mind even if I reincarnated again. So I hope that you can stay and help me at the Ice God Palace. Your talent is so excellent you will definitely be one of the top immortal emperors of the Ice God Palace. She continued talking. That man came from a poor mortal realm. I don't know how he brought me to the immortal realm, but it probably took quite some effort. When he just came to the immortal realm, his cultivation level was low and he wanted to buy a soul return fruit to save me. He met an immortal king and that immortal king liked my talent, so they took me away. That immortal king saved me, and I was taken to the Ice God Palace. MSS Xianxia, you only took 200 or so years to come from the lower realm. Wouldn't that person who brought you up be even weaker? Have you thought about looking for him? Qing Ru asked. Xianxia looked at the clouds and said calmly, When I woke up I did want to go find him. That immortal king who saved me said golden immortal would be the highest he can reach in his life. She said that he and I wouldn't be of the same world and told me to give up looking for him. I didn't bring this up again, but just used time to cultivate and plan to go find him when I had the power. Then you came to the Ice God Palace and knew about your past life, so... Qing Ru said. Xianxia sighed. Yes, after realizing who I was, I knew it was the end for me and him. I severed all my ties with him and decided to forget about him. However, the world doesn't go as you please. What happened? Xianxia fell silent for a long while and said, He actually found his way to the Ice God Palace. I still don't understand how he got here. I asked Palace Lord Shu and Martial Uncle Jiwan, but they said they didn't know or didn't want to tell me. This man is so determined. Then what happened? Qing Ru almost broke the cup in her hands but didn't notice it. Xianxia shook her head. You don't understand. He came to the Ice God Palace to find me or was worried about me, but I know that it has nothing to do with love. I once saved him, perhaps that's why he came to find me. Then, where is that person now? Qing Ru asked. Xianxia continued. I once made the oath that I would not be distracted by anything else. In order to vindicate my determination. Qing Ru's heart squeezed as she got up. She took emotions and relationships seriously. She had the feeling that Xianxia killed the person who saved her as well as the person she liked. She couldn't accept this. Xianxia laughed in self-mockery. You probably guessed it. In order to prove myself, I killed him. I tricked him into that room. That room wasn't mine and then activated the number 1 formation, Ice God formation. I don't want to have anything to do with the Ice God Palace. Just tell me how to leave here and I will be very grateful. No need, thanks for bringing me out. I saved you, but you saved me too. We don't owe each other. Go back to Ice God Palace, don't worry about me getting revenge. I never thought about it. Anyone who was hurt like this would be extremely sad. Qingru suddenly felt her decision to leave the Ice God Palace was right. She just realized that the person who saved her didn't lie at all. At the same time, she realized why Emo didn't want to have anything to do with the Ice God Palace. Nie Shuangshuang tried to kill him, but he still didn't want to get revenge, purely because Nie Shuangshuang saved him once. So that's how Shuangshuang's flying ship came. Qingru was bitter in her heart. I asked the big palace lord to activate the Ice God formation out of respect for him. Luckily, the big palace lord agreed. Nie Shuangshuang looked at Qingru. Everything I've done is for the Ice God Palace. I hope you can do the same. Qingru thought about Emo being trapped and suddenly realized this had nothing to do with Nie Shuangshuang's sacrifice. The person who made the sacrifices was the person trapped. She got up and slowly shook her head. After Emo entered the void formation gates, he felt a little dizzy. When he cleared up his mind, there was a patch of mist in front of him. It was different than what Feng Kong Grand Emperor and them said. There was a tunnel in this mist. Emo quickly went out along the tunnel and in just 5 minutes, he walked out of this tunnel. When he turned back, the mist was already gone. He was in barren wilderness. As a top-level Immortal Formation Grandmaster, of course Emo knew what was going on. This was probably left behind intentionally by those powerful beings. Otherwise, people would be walking around in the mist again for decades. Despite knowing that he wouldn't be able to find a way back, Emo still started to plant his spirit sense marks formation flags. Now he couldn't find the way back. But that didn't mean he couldn't in the future. Once his formation skills reached a certain level, he would come back here again. After doing this, Emo started to look at what was in front of him. His spirit sense extended out only 1% that of the immortal realm. One could see that even though the space laws were broken here, it was still sturdier than the immortal realm. He felt the chi here was very impure. There seemed to be chi higher level than immortal spirit chi, but he couldn't really feel it, or at least he couldn't really devour it. He could only see barren wilderness here. Other than that, there were ravines everywhere. There were some subtle cracks in the void too. If flying magic artifacts went past these crevices, they would be torn apart. Emo took in a cold breath. This was no realm for survival. This was clearly a dangerous secret realm. He only saw these void cracks when he went in the Truth Fall Palace in the Cultivation realm, but here they were everywhere. Realizing the danger here, Emo carefully moved deeper. After walking for another half a day, Emo realized that the void crevices he saw before were nothing. On the way, his spirit sense saw endless abyss and rivers flowing down from the air. He saw a dried, cracked-up river falling down in ruins. Huge mountain peaks were fallen and all sorts of cracks ravaged the grounds. Just what happened here? Emo looked at the scene in extreme shock. He didn't believe how people could live here if everywhere was like this. A sudden black figure appeared from a deep ravine and charged at Emo. Emo punched without hesitation using his fist God Art Void. Emo's immortal essence and spirit sense had reached a certain level. Although he felt his god art seemed to be limited by heaven and earth and not as satisfying as in the immortal realm, it was still astoundingly powerful. This punch immediately swept up the space lethal force and clashed with the black figure. Rumble, Emo felt an extremely powerful concussion force. He was immediately struck flying, and that powerful force instantly broke up his body protection immortal essence and smashed onto his chest. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Emo immediately released Zisu. This black shadow was definitely stronger than Feng Kong Grand Emperor. However, Emo clearly worried too much. The black shadow was struck flying too. After being hit by Emo's void punch, there was a hideous shriek and the figure left behind a shadow and felled. So powerful! Emo quickly ate an immortal pill and found that he was falling down into a huge ravine. Tens of space rays sliced towards at him. At this moment, Emo felt his immortal essence pause and couldn't move aside in time. He sighed and could only wait till the space rays hit him before leaving the ravine. He felt the threat of these sword rays. Even if he didn't move aside, they would at most tear open his clothes. The instant that those sword rays were about to hit Emo, a red beam swept over. When Emo's spirit sense touched that red beam, he knew that this red beam was trying to pull him away instead of hurting him. He immediately grabbed that red beam and used it to dodge the void sword rays. Emo landed and found that it was a woman who saved him. But even if she didn't help him, he would be fine. This woman didn't look old. Her skin was dark and her eyes big. Her waist was tightly bound and there was a gourd tied to it. Emo was shocked to see that he couldn't see her cultivation level. Emo felt very strange. He felt this woman wasn't stronger than him, but he couldn't see her cultivation level. Was this due to her stealth cultivation method? If I didn't save you, you would be dead for sure if you fell into that ravine. Your cultivation level seems to reach Immortal Emperor, but your chi is unstable and your foundation is very shallow. The dark-faced, big-eyed woman studied Emo and said. Her accent was different to the immortal realm, but Emo could still understand. The language difference wasn't huge. Chi not stable? Emo was speechless. This was the first time he heard someone say this about him. Although he used the time formation disc to cultivate, he had bitter bamboo, golden page world, and most importantly, the 3 birth chant. How could his foundation be unstable? And you don't have any god spirit chi on you? Are you not from the god necropolis domain? The woman guessed. Emo quickly copied her accent and said, I have been cultivating in a cultivation home for countless years and just came out. Thanks for saving me. However, this woman nodded. You're right. I did save your life. Otherwise, if you fell into the ravine, even a god wouldn't be able to save you. So you've been solo cultivating in a cultivation home. You probably didn't use god crystals to cultivate, otherwise your foundation wouldn't be this unstable. The woman felt her face and said, It seems I need to go into solitary cultivation for a while. Compared to you, I seem a bit dark. Emo ignored these words. The only thing he heard was god crystals. He had realized now why she said his foundation was unstable. That was because he used immortal crystals and immortal ranges in the immortal realm. Immortal crystals were lower level than god crystals. Using immortal crystals to cultivate would seem shallow in this realm. Those who used god crystals to cultivate could tell easily. The reason he couldn't see her cultivation level might be due to this. Yes, I have very few god crystals, so my foundation is unstable. Can you lend me a few god crystals? Emo quickly saluted with his fists and asked. The woman looked in a daze at Emo. I saved you and you didn't show me any gratitude. Yet you still want to borrow god crystals from me? Did I hear correctly? Emo could only say awkwardly, I'm very poor right now and indeed don't have anything on me. The woman nodded. I can tell, so I don't need any god crystals or god pills from you. I saw your punch striking away that low-level mist demon beast was quite good. Can you teach me? That black shadow was a mist demon beast? How come it looked that similar to that demonic immortal spirit beast? Then Emo realized that this woman probably saw him already and was waiting on the side to save him and ask for something in return. I can teach you, but... Before Emo finished, she threw out more than 10 white crystals. These are low-grade god crystals. I really can't believe you. I saved you and you didn't even give me a gift. And yet you want god crystals from me first. Emo grabbed these god crystals and found that they were the exact same as the ones Dragon River Grand Emperor brought back. He couldn't devour the god crystals before because it was Dragon River Grand Emperor's, but now Emo immediately started devouring the energy inside. It was powerful chi, completely different to immortal spirit chi. It was very little in amount, but it benefited Emo immeasurably. Emo was certain that if he had enough god crystals, he wouldn't need long to reach Immortal Emperor peak stage. This was even better than an extreme grade immortal range. Don't devour golden core state here. It's very dangerous here. There are mist demon beasts, and if they come in packs we will never be able to leave. The dark-faced young girl said, unhappily seeing Emo forget to teach her his god art. Emo put away the god crystals awkwardly and quickly inscribed the void god art on the jade slip and gave it to her. This is my god art. It's yours. Also, can you lend me some more god crystals? You still want my cultivation stones? I don't have many, but you can have them if you trade with something in exchange. The woman glanced at Yi Mo's jade slip and instantly took it. Yi Mo took out the Lu Ming Guang Yen bell and the broken immortal subjugation metal tree root. See if you want these two magic artifacts. The young girl was clearly knowledgeable. The broken tree root was the so-so, but she immediately grabbed the bell and exclaimed, "This is a magic artifact that can be upgraded, and it has been upgraded to extreme-grade immortal artifact?" The young girl grabbed the bell in disbelief. She added, "You're going to sell me this magic artifact?" An upgradable extreme-grade immortal artifact was worth far more than a low-grade god artifact. That's why this girl was so shocked. EMO nodded. "That's right, if you want it then name a price." EMO had no use for the bell, and those who were close to him didn't use fire element magic artifacts. Plus, he needed god crystals to stabilize his cultivation level. The woman felt the bell with love. "I really like this magic artifact, but even if I give you all my god crystals, I can't afford it. Plus, you have two. Although the other one is a bit broken, I still really like it." "How many god crystals do you have?" EMO asked. At the same time, he rejoiced. He didn't know how much the bell was worth, but since this woman said she couldn't afford it, it meant that it had high value. "I still have 3,000 top-grade god crystals, 10,000 middle-grade god crystals, and less than 10,000 low-grade god crystals," the woman said with embarrassment. She knew that her few god crystals couldn't even buy a corner of the magic artifact. EMO thought that this woman was this rich but only gave him 10 god crystals, and they were low-grade. At least she was rather honest. "Then how much is my bell worth?" EMO asked. "I'm not certain of its price, but probably a few 100,000. But if it's to be upgraded again, it would need countless materials. I believe even if it can't be upgraded, it's worth tens of thousands of god crystals. I'm very poor. Even if you ask for 50,000 god crystals, I can't afford it." The woman put down the bell in pity. After thinking about this, she took out a black ore. "I have a decent god abyss rock, but even together, it's still not worth your bell." EMO took the tree root back and said, "I can sell you the bell. Just give me all your god crystals and that god abyss stone. Then you write me an IOU for 40k top-grade god crystals. Is that okay?" EMO had heard of god abyss stone but had never seen it. It could be used to forge storage magic artifacts that were beyond immortal artifacts. EMO needed this. His storage ring was too low level. With this stone, he could reforge his storage ring. "You're willing to accept an IOU?" The woman looked at EMO in joy. She didn't know EMO, but he was still this generous and willing to accept an IOU. This thing had no binding power at all. Of course EMO was willing. He just arrived in this realm and hadn't even stabilized his power. If he didn't quickly do that, it wouldn't be good. Now that this black-faced woman seemed like a nice person, he might as well try to get her god crystals. Plus, the bell had no use for him. "Of course, you just need to tell me where I can find you. I believe your character. At least you saved me once, right?" EMO said. Hearing this, the woman really believed EMO and took out a storage bag for EMO. "All my god crystals are in here. I'll write the IOU." She marked an IOU as quickly as she could on the jade slip and grabbed the bell. "I'm Nyo Runin from Hung God Corner. I need to say that in the short term, I won't be able to pay you back," Nyo Runin said. Since EMO let her write the IOU, he never planned for her to give the god crystals to him. He just needed time to convert his immortal essence to god essence. "I know, since I let you owe me, then of course you can pay me back when you can. What are you doing here alone?" EMO waved his hand. Nyo Runin said, "Of course to hunt mist demon beasts. Their beast cores are very valuable. I missed the time due to solitary cultivation. Otherwise, I wouldn't be coming alone. If you have nowhere to go, you can come with me to Hung God Corner. We can team up to hunt mist demon beasts and go to the Tuo Dragon Castle to exchange for god crystals and god pills." EMO needed to stabilize his power, so he wouldn't be leaving now. "I won't go now. I have some business. After I'm done, I will go to the Tuo Dragon Castle and see. Perhaps I will go to your Hung God Corner," EMO said casually. Nyo Runin clearly wanted to go back quickly and spirit control the bell. So she said, "In that case, I'm going. By the way, what's your name?" "I'm Yemo. I'll come find you in a few months," Yemo said. "No problem," Nyo Runin replied and left. Seeing this, Yemo left quickly too. 6 hours later, Yemo found a cultivation home in a slanted peak. He went inside and set up a stealth formation before going in the golden page world. He carefully put 7 low-grade god crystals on the time formation disk and found that the time formation disk didn't go much faster, but the usage of god crystals was much slower. Yemo started to use low-grade god crystals to convert his immortal essence. The god crystals contained god spirit chi and were constantly devoured by Yemo. Soon, he pressurized his immortal essence into a new god essence. When Yemo used the low-grade and middle-grade god crystals, most of his immortal essence was converted to god essence. With his immortal essence being pressured, his cultivation level started to drop while his power was increasing. As he devoured more god crystals, his cultivation level didn't drop very fast. A few months passed in the time formation disk and Yemo used 3,000 top-grade god crystals. All his immortal essence were pretty much converted to god essence. His cultivation level didn't increase, but this powerful feeling shocked even Yemo. Yemo stopped cultivating and used the God Abyss stone to forge a new storage ring. Although it wasn't a low-grade god artifact yet, it was a top extreme-grade immortal artifact. Due to this, he could put Zisu inside. Zisu's level was too low and Yemo really wanted to reforge it, but he really didn't have many high-level materials. He got a few ores from the Void Palace, but he didn't know any of them. After he packed his things, he left the Golden Page world. As soon as Yemo walked out, another dark figure dashed over. With his past experience, he knew this was a mist demon beast ambush. His immortal essence had pretty much converted to god essence. He released Zisu the same time the black figure came charging. Red mist splashed out with a scream. A dark gray beast core fell to the floor. If there wasn't that laying on the ground, Yemo would have thought he killed a gust of mist. The mist demon beast was on par with the one that ambushed him before. Previously he was evenly matched with that mist demon beast, but after 90% of his immortal essence was converted to god essence, his power increased so much. After taking the beast core, Yemo left here quickly to find Nyo Runin. Yemo walked for a few days and the land finally eased up. There were less messy mountains and ravines. There was more god spirit chi and less void crevices in the space. Yemo had decided to take out his space-time boat to travel. Rumble, a terrifying space chi wave immediately made Yemo stop. Before he could scan his spirit sense out, a few figures dashed past him. The next moment, a huge palm print appeared in his spirit sense. At the same time, a fist print not much smaller than the palm appeared in his spirit sense. His sea of consciousness was bursting with pain. He couldn't even look directly at this clash. The explosion sounded and the nearby space immediately dimmed. The nearby rocks and rivers seemed to be tipped over a few times. As the fist and palm clashed, the flat earth was ravaged and the rivers were tipped over. After that clash, the two fighters were gone instantly. Yemo took in a cold breath. The powers of these two fighters was something he couldn't even look at. Most importantly, this was where everyone lived. If these powerful beings fought however they liked, wouldn't this broken world be more broken? Looking at these terrifying ravines and cracks, Yemo was speechless. He could imagine that if this continued, this broken realm would eventually cease to exist. Those few people running came back to Yemo. "Dao friend. How do I call you? You're much bolder than us." A short-haired man came up and studied Yemo. Yemo saw that amongst the three, there were two who were just Immortal Monarch peak stage and the short-haired man was Immortal Emperor middle stage. However, their cultivation level was dense and might be much stronger than people of the same level in the immortal realm. "I'm Yemo. I'm not bold. It's just that when the two Qian Bais fought, I couldn't dodge at all." Yemo saluted with his fists. "That was two Dao actualization divine emperors fighting. You were lucky. If you were bound by a Dao actualization divine emperor's domain, you would have long since disappeared," the immortal emperor middle stage said. Yemo quickly thanked him and asked, May I ask how to get to Hung God Corner? You're from Hung God Corner? The short-haired immortal emperor studied Yemo. No, I have a friend there. I have nowhere to go, so I'm planning to join her, Yemo answered. The short-haired man shook his head and took out a jade slip, marking a simple route for Yemo. This is the map to Hung God Corner. I'll be straightforward. If it's your first time going there and your friend is an ordinary friend, perhaps you won't even get a servant job there. Why? Yemo asked. That Hung God Corner is around Tua Dragon Castle, so it's a decent place, but they're very xenophobic. It's very hard for outsiders to enter Hung God Corner, especially the young mistress of Hung God Corner. She's not only extremely beautiful but also strong. She's just one step from Dao Vindication. Her words are very powerful in there. She dislikes outsiders joining. Be careful and don't get caught in her hands. Otherwise, it may be hard to even survive. But if you can get a foothold there, you can get some cultivation resources and live much better than us running around everywhere. Then, the short-haired man shook his head and left with the other two. Yemo smiled. He didn't want to join Hung God Corner. He mainly wanted to ask if Nyo-Runen had god crystals to give him. If not, he would ask for some information about the god necropolis domain from her and ways to earn god crystals. Yemo spent another 2 weeks before he saw the outline of the Hung God Corner. It seemed like a distant village, but coming here he could tell it wasn't. There were dense restrictions and formations. The God Corner was closely guarded. If one didn't go from the front, then they would be caught no matter which direction they approached the place. Other than a huge formation at the door, there was a wide road filled with blue stone boards. There were some trees on the two sides. There was God's spirit chi seeping out from the trees, but Yemo didn't recognize a single one of them. Yemo was speechless standing outside the God Corner. Although this was a broken realm, it was still a realm higher than the immortal realm. Yet, looking at the design of the Hung God Corner, even an ordinary great immortal sect was countless times grander than here. Before Yemo went in, 2 guards blocked his path. Yemo quickly saluted with his fists. I'm Nyo-Runen's friend. I came to find her. Please report to her. Your martial sister Runen's friend? How come I didn't hear about you? It wasn't the 2 guards talking but a man behind Yemo. His face was pale and long, like a horse. There was a gray-robed man next to Horseface. Their cultivation level were both Immortal Emperor Tertiary stage. Yes, Nyo-Runen told me to find her here. That's why I came, Yemo said. Then, Yemo felt a spirit sense scan over him. It came from inside the Hung God Corner, but when his spirit sense wanted to scan in, it was blocked by a restriction. With Yemo's current spirit sense power, he could break the restrictions, but he didn't dare to do this. The Hung God Corner doesn't allow foreigners, go? The Horseface said coldly. Let him in. A cold voice sounded. Yemo knew this was a woman, and it was the one who scanned him with spirit sense. Yes, young mistress, the 2 guards said and bowed. The Horseface sneered and went past Yemo, going in the door first. Yemo didn't mind. He came here to ask about things and collect some debt. Then he would leave. Yemo walked along the path and soon a figure flew over. It was Nyo-Runen. Why did you only come here today? If it was a few days later, I was gonna leave Hung God Corner. Good thing you came today. By the way, when you see the young mistress, you need to thank her. If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be able to come in today, Nyo-Runen said. Yemo could only say, I want to go check out Tua Dragon Castle, so I came by Hung God Corner wanting to ask. Nyo-Runen interrupted him and said, You don't need to tell me, and I know you're coming to ask for debt. This isn't the place to talk. Come with me first. Yemo followed her and left this blue stone road. Immediately, he felt a sliver of spirit sense sticking to him. He knew the spirit sense. It was the spirit sense that scanned him at the door. His 3-birth chant had great sensory capabilities and his instinct was very powerful. There was no way that he couldn't sense the spirit sense that scanned him down so much. When Yemo followed Nyo-Runen into her room and Nyo-Runen closed the door, the spirit sense left. Yemo breathed easy. He really didn't being secretly watched like this. He just came here and didn't know most of the people here. But he was planning to leave already. Nyo-Runen's room was simple and tidy, like her. There was just a jade bed and a small stone table with some cups. Runin poured a cup of tea for Emo and said, Emo, I know you came to ask for God crystals from me, but I get limited amounts each year and I need to cultivate too, so I don't know how long it will take for me to pay you back. I'm thinking that I can ask for the young mistress to help you get a job here. At least you wouldn't need to venture out and find your own cultivation resources. Emo drank the tea and found it was worse than some sects' immortal teas. There was not any god spirit chi nor taste. He put the tea down and said, I've always been in the cultivation home in solitary cultivation. I don't know a lot of things, so I want to ask you about some things. As for the god crystals you owe me, we can talk about it later. Okay, ask me. The bell you sold me is quite good. Even if I paid you all the debt, I still owe you a favor, Runin said. I only know that we're living at God Necropolis domain, but I don't know how big it is. I heard it was a complete realm before, but for some reasons the realm is broken. Is this so? Emo asked. As for the 40k she owed him, he really didn't care. He trusted with his capabilities he would earn it sooner or later. Runin thought and said, I don't know very well. When I was born, this place was the broken God Necropolis domain. As for borders, it's boundless. No one knows where the border of the God Necropolis domain is, but this realm is indeed broken. There are very few habitable places in this realm. There aren't many safe havens like the Hung God Corner and Tua Dragon Castle. Then can the strongest person here dominate the God Necropolis domain? Emo asked. He wanted to know what the strongest person here was. Runin shook her head. No, Hung God Corner is strong in this region, but compared to the boundless God Necropolis domain, it's nothing. I don't exactly know what the strongest person here is, but I heard it was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Isn't it Tao Essence after Tao Actualization? Yes, Tao Essence is divided into 4 stages: primary, middle, tertiary, and peak. After Tao Essence peak, you can pursue Primordial Essence. I heard that the God Necropolis domain is broken and the laws are incomplete. One can't reach Primordial Essence Divine Emperor here. Was the God Necropolis domain called the God Realm before it was broken? You can call it that. I've seen in ancient texts that the God Necropolis domain used to be called Divine Tao Realm. Only those immortals who vindicated Tao can enter here. Then something happened to the Divine Tao Realm and it became broken. Then whose power is the strongest in the God Necropolis domain? What degree is it at? Emo asked his final question. Runin laughed. Hearing this, I know you know nothing. If there's a strongest person in the God Necropolis domain, would there be all this fighting every day? People fight for things every day, not caring if the God Necropolis domain is broken or not. In the God Necropolis domain, as long as you have power, you can do anything. Hearing this, Emo frowned. His cultivation level was at the bottom and there were countless people stronger than him. If he wasn't careful one day and encountered a murderous guy, wouldn't he be seeking death? You don't really need to worry. Those Tao Vindication powerful beings won't care about us little immortal emperors. Their level isn't something we can reach. Plus, most Tao Essence Divine Emperor peaks choose to leave the God Necropolis domain. Why are they leaving? Plus, where else can they go? Emo was worried those Tao Essence Divine Emperor peaks would go find the immortal realm. Runin looked at Emo speechlessly. The God Necropolis domain's laws are broken, but the space is still stable. However, one can't reach Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. Once you reach a certain level, you can leave the God Necropolis domain and enter the universal space. There are countless planets floating outside the God Necropolis domain. They go out in search of an opportunity for Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. But I've only heard Tao Essence Divine Emperors leave, but never heard of them really reaching Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. In time, many Divine Emperors rarely leave the God Necropolis domain even if they reach Tao Essence. Thank you for teaching me, Martial Sister Runin. I'm going to leave now. Pay me back some God crystals, I don't mind how many you have. I have no God crystals on me now. Emo got up and saluted with his fists. Runin blushed. I really don't have much, but you used them up so quickly. It has only been a few months. Emo was a little disappointed. He didn't want to stay here anymore. Just when he wanted to leave, he heard Niu Runin say, "This time the Mu Hua God Mountain is opening. Our Hung God Corner is participating. The mistress will definitely let me go. If I don't die inside, I can pay you back." Mu Hua God Mountain? Emo repeated. Niu Runin answered, "Yes. Sometimes this mountain will open a few years in a row. Sometimes it will open after a few hundred years, but there are plenty of good things inside. There are large amounts of God crystals and ores. If you're lucky, you can find some time Dao fruits and magic artifacts for learning time law." "Why is it all time-related things?" Emo asked. "Because Mu Hua God Mountain is formed by all sorts of time law. Some places you can feel time flow rapidly, some places you can feel time paused or even rewinding. If low cultivation level people encounter such a situation, not many of them can survive. If you feel time flowing too fast, then before you break free from that time whirlpool, your lifespan might be at its end." Niu Runin said, "There's such a place?" Emo felt this place was like the Will Mountain in the Immortal realm. He was planning to go there to learn time law. If this Mu Hua God Mountain could really help him learn time law, then it was too perfect for him. Those god arts without laws were small god arts. Only with the use of law could a god art be considered great god art. Emo touched on a sliver of space law, but it was far from initial completion. Thinking about this, Emo said, "Martial Sister Runin, I don't want the 40k god crystals. I have one request. Get me a spot in the Mu Hua God Mountain. With this, I can find my own god crystals." "You want to go?" Niu Runin stared at Emo dazedly, and then she reacted and quickly shook her head. "No, definitely not. I can't get you a spot, but even if I can, the young mistress won't let you. It's seeking death if you go." Seeing Emo frown and not talk, Niu Runin could only continue. "No one will team up with you. Even if you enter the mountain, it would just be suicide." Emo immediately said, "I won't go near the time whirlpools. I'll just stay at the safest area." Niu Runin rubbed her forehead and said, "Even if you want to find such a time whirlpool, it's extremely hard. You can't even see time whirlpools at the outskirts of the Mu Hua God Mountain. You would have to go to the deepest part of the mountain to find them. Only those who learn time laws would go in. We don't dare to go deep in the Mu Hua God Mountain, at most to the outskirts. The reason I'm saying you're seeking death is because there are many god beasts in the mountain. And if you encounter another squad and you're alone, then no one will let you go. You will die for certain." Emo's main purpose was to actually go to the time whirlpool and feel the time law. Now that Niu Runin said this, he could only say, "Martial Sister Runin, I want to go to Mu Hua God Mountain. I will be responsible for my own life and death. Please help me. If you can't, then please tell me how I can get in there." Then, Emo picked up that tree root Niu Runin wasn't able to afford and said, "You can have this too as payment." Niu Runin blushed. She wanted to reject it. She already owed Emo 40,000 god crystals, and now she was going to owe Emo even more. "How about this? You can come with me to see the young mistress and see if I can give my spot to you." Niu Runin's words troubled Emo. It was a fortune to go there. And if he took her fortune like this, he would be embarrassed. "It's okay. The Mu Hua God Mountain opens frequently. If I don't go this time, I might have better luck next time. I'm just worried that young mistress won't let you team up." Niu Runin sighed. "In that case, thank you, Martial Sister Nan. Regardless of whether it works out or not, I owe you a favor." Emo really didn't want to let this opportunity go. If he went to Mu Hua God Mountain, it would mean that his power would increase another level. Niu Runin nodded. "I'll take you to see young mistress. She's extremely beautiful and just don't stare at her rudely. She hates this sort of people." "I understand." Emo immediately nodded. He already has people he loved and could even just casually glance at someone as beautiful as Qingru. How could he stare at a woman he didn't know rudely? "Runin, you want someone irrelevant to represent our Hung God Corner to enter the Mu Hua God Mountain?" A blue-dressed woman asked Niu Runin in front of Emo. Emo studied this young mistress. Sharp-faced, thin-lipped, she was indeed extremely beautiful. But her beauty was far lesser than Luoying and Zhen Bingyu in Yemo's heart, much less Qingru. But hearing this, Yimo's heart sunk. The young mistress wasn't so easy to talk to. Sister Wanman, I owe you quite some favors. He's my friend too. I want to give my spot to him. Before Nyo Runin finished, she was interrupted by the young mistress and reproached in a serious tone. Runin, every spot of our hung god corner is very precious. How can you give it away like that? Young mistress looked at Runin's disappointed face and said, Of course I can give him a challenge spot. If he has the capability, then he can go in. If not, you've tried your best. There was disappointment in Nyo Runin's eye. Sister Wanman, Yimo is only Immortal Emperor middle stage. Those who pass the challenge to enter the mountain are at least Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Most of them are Immortal Emperor peak or half divine. Making Yimo challenge them is... Yimo thought and asked, Martial Sister Runin, may I ask what this challenge spot is about? Nyo Runin explained, There are limited spots to enter the mountain each time. There are 16 god corner powers in this region and 5 castles. The spots are pretty much split. But in order to take solo cultivators into consideration and some powers feel they don't have enough spots, they left 20 spots for challenge. Those who could pass the challenge are at least Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Emo immediately understood what this was. He actually was confident in winning, so he quickly said, Thank you, Martial Sister Runin. I'll just have a challenge spot. If I fail, then I only have myself to blame. I won't blame Martial Sister Runin. Sigh, we can only do this. But those challengers are crazy. They won't show you mercy. If you feel you can't beat them, then admit defeat and leave. Nyo Runin felt very bad that she accepted so many things from Yimo but couldn't even get him a spot. She felt even worse that the challenge didn't need a spot. Anyone who came to the outskirts of the Muhua God Mountain could sign up and challenge. 3 days later, Yimo followed Hung God Corner's people to the Muhua God Mountain. After these 3 days, he realized he was scammed by the young mistress. But Yimo didn't care, he just needed to follow the group to the mountain. Without them, he wouldn't even know where the mountain was. From Nyo Runin, Yimo learned that each time the mountain was open, the number of people entering from the different powers were different. It was distributed based on their power. The stronger a power was, the more spots they had. Hung God Corner was ranked upper medium, so they had 20 spots. These 20 people could form 4 squads. Yimo stood in one corner of the flying ship. No one talked to him. If it wasn't for Nyo Runin, he would have been kicked off already. That horse-faced cultivator disliked him a lot. Nyo Runin seemed close to the young mistress, but couldn't really take care of him. Yimo didn't mind. He noticed that the leading man and woman of the flying ship were far beyond Immortal Emperor peak stage. Yimo didn't know Tao Actualization Divine Emperors, but he felt even if the two weren't Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, one of them was at least a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. 5 days later, Hung God Corner's flying ship landed on this ancient desert. Yimo hadn't got off from the flying ship yet and felt the ancient chi of this place. Then Yimo followed everyone off the ship. The chi of time flowing was so deep that he could even touch it. Yimo was very shocked. This wasn't even Muhua God Mountain yet, but there was such chi. If one entered the mountain, just how powerful would the time chi or the time law be there? The time here seemed to flow towards the distance, and there seemed to be a whirlpool that spirit sense couldn't touch. Yimo guessed that place was the Muhua God Mountain. There were many cultivation homes here. Yimo saw a decent-sized marketplace. Yimo, sorry. I wasn't able to help you with anything, but don't worry. When I come out of the mountain, I will repay your god crystals, Nyo Runin said. Yimo smiled. No need. I'm already very grateful that Martial Sister Runin can bring me here. I will deal with the rest myself. Nyo Runin took out 100 top-grade god crystals and gave them to Yimo before saying shamefully, I only have these crystals on me. Good luck. When you fight, if you find yourself outmatched, surrender immediately. There are no limits here if you don't admit defeat. Yimo wasn't dumb. He wasn't going to keep fighting if he clearly knew he was outmatched. That was asking to die. But Yimo didn't reject the 100 top-grade god crystals. Yimo came up to the challenge sign-up place alone and found there were many people signing up here. There were at least a few thousand people and there were more coming. After coming here, Emo realized that the sign-up fee was 1,000 top-grade god crystals. He couldn't even afford the sign-up fee. Emo finally why there was such a humane management in this law of the jungle world. Clearly, it was for gathering money. One person needed 1,000 god crystals. How many would that be in total? That would be over 1,000,000 god crystals. Emo was speechless and understood why Runin felt so ashamed. She knew the 100 god crystals she gave him wasn't even enough for the sign-up fee. Speechlessly, Emo walked out of the sign-up line, thinking about where to get the remaining 900 god crystals. What? You see, all these challengers are higher level than you, so you're scared. A bearded, immortal Emperor Tertiary stage was behind Emo and laughed. Emo said helplessly, "After coming here, I realized the sign-up fee was 1,000 god crystals. I don't have that many. How much do you have?" The bearded man asked. "I only have 100. Emo answered honestly. The bearded man looked at Emo in confusion. "Dao friend, you don't seem too weak. You're at least an immortal emperor middle stage. How can you not even have 1,000 god crystals? If you're missing 10s or 100 I can help you, but you're missing so many. I'm not wealthy either. I can't help you. However, I can point you away. You can check out Muhua Market. If you have good magic artifacts, you can sell a few. Such an opportunity is rare. If you go in the mountain and don't die, you will definitely get a huge fortune." Emo was immediately interested. He got god crystals from Runin with magic artifacts before, and he had plenty of magic artifact. Although most of them weren't high level, he could try. "Thank you for your reminder, Dao friend. I'll go try now." Emo quickly thanked him and left for Muhua Market. There were many people at Muhua Market, but it was disordered and chaotic. One stall here, another shop there. Emo entered a decent-looking shop and was planning to ask about the price about extreme-grade immortal artifacts, but when he saw the price list, he immediately gave up. It wrote clearly that the lowest price for extreme-grade immortal artifacts was only 100 top-grade god crystals. Extreme-grade flying immortal artifacts were 150 top-grade god crystals. Emo didn't have a lot of extreme-grade immortal artifacts because the materials for them were rare, even in the immortal realm. Compared to that, some of the materials Emo had never heard of were extremely pricey. Tens of thousands or even 100,000 crystals. Emo thought about the ores he got from the Void Palace and called a worker over. "May I ask if there are jade slips with information about the materials and spirit items in the God Necropolis domain?" The worker glanced at Emo with confusion and took out 2 jade slips for Emo. These 2 jade slips contain information about god spirit items and some Dao fruits. As for forgery materials, it's even more complete. Each jade slip is 1 top-grade god crystal. Emo didn't bargain and quickly threw out 2 god crystals and left the shop with the jade slip. Emo left the shop and found a distant place before looking at the jade slips carefully. He immediately saw the names of the ores he got and was overjoyed. Flowing light cloud stone, top-grade material for forging god artifacts. The god artifacts forged with this material got a speed advantage. The rock was dark red and had a lightly numbing sensation in the hand. This was one of the things he got from the palace. It was perfect for upgrading Zisu. Silver wing glass, top material for forging flying magic artifact. God heart stone, white jade stone used for nourishing spirit sense and empowering the soul. It can quickly recover used spirit sense and help improve spirit sense power. It was a rare soul material in the divine Dao realm. No wonder that when he got this stone, he felt a satisfying sensation holding it. After going through the jade slip once, Emo found that everything he got in the palace was top-level stuff. Realizing what they were used for, Emo put the jade slip away and moved his spirit sense onto that white jade stone. It was called God Heart Stone. The use of this stone would be more precious to others than all the other materials combined. For spirit sense nourishment, he had corner soul weeds and dark weeds. After thinking about it carefully, Emo had decided to sell this God Heart Stone. Of course, he wasn't selling the entire thing. He cut off a third and found a spacious place and put up a stall. He only had one thing, and it was this 1/3 of God Heart Stone. Emo didn't know its exact price, but he guessed it was definitely over 1,000 top-grade god crystals. EMO put a restriction on the stone and yelled, I happen to get a god heart stone that I want to sell it. Those who want it can bid for it. Without the need to call a second time, people flocked over immediately. There were even some half-divines, but not a single divine emperor. It really is god heart stone? It's quite high quality. Wait, it doesn't seem to be complete. There's more than half gone. Good item, Dao friend, how much? A few desperate immortal emperors already started to bid towards Yemo. Yemo didn't know the exact price of this and thus couldn't name a price. He saluted with his fists. I only have this god heart stone. So while there's a lot of people here, I want to sell it for a good price. I won't name a price myself, everyone can bid. I only sell to the highest bidder. I'll pay 10,000 top-grade god crystals. Someone immediately bid. Yemo rejoiced, he didn't expect it was priced this high. Another voice sneered. A mere 10k god crystals dares to buy this god heart stone? If it's not that it has a part missing, I would pay 100k immediately. Even though it's missing a part, I'm willing to pay 20k. Wait, I'll bid 50k. A cold voice interrupted everyone. Yemo didn't need to look to know who this person was. It was that young mistress of the Hung God Corner. She seemed to be called Hung Wanman. I'll bid 100k. A skinny-bodied man with a black mask walked over. Yemo looked at this person and knew he was definitely half divine. He was very happy with 100k and didn't want to keep waiting. The young mistress's face sunk and she frowned at Yemo. Yemo, you came from our Hung God Corner. If you trust me, I'm willing to pay 100k too. I don't have that much on me now. I'll pay you the remaining 50k when I go back. I can even give you a few thousand more. Nyo Runin next to her also gave Yemo a pleading look. Sorry, I don't take debts, Yemo said plainly and then turned to the man. Pay 100k god crystals and the god heart stone is yours. Thank you. The man threw a storage bag to Yemo without hesitation. Yemo scanned it, there were 100k god crystals, not one less. He immediately took the god heart stone out of the restriction and put it in a jade box, giving it to the skinny man. The young mistress's face was green. She didn't expect that Yemo dared to reject her. Yemo followed their ship here, and even if he didn't, how could a mere solo cultivator dare to reject her? Shameless person. Why did our Hung God Corner even help you that much? Pft! The horse-faced man said furiously. Yemo sneered. Help? What help did your Hung God Corner help me with? Did you give me a spot into the mountain or did you pay my challenge sign-up fee? I used your Hung God Corner's flying ship to come here, but I paid 40k god crystals. You dare to talk about help with that horse face of yours? Do you have any face? That horse-faced man was going to fight immediately, but the young mistress sneered and turned to leave. The horse face glared at Yemo and turned to leave. Nyo Runin was extremely shameful and said nothing. When the horse-faced man said that Yemo didn't pay back their help, everyone despised Yemo. Although it was the law of the jungle here, people took promises and favors seriously. When they heard Yemo's explanation, they realized what help it was. Yemo just used their ship to come here and paid 40k. 40k was enough to come from Hung God Corner here many times. If you gave 40k god crystals to any power, they would politely send you to Muhua God Mountain and sign up for you. Yemo immediately paid the sign-up fee. After he left, he saw that bearded man again. The man saw Yemo and immediately walked over. Dao friend, you had a god heart stone, but it's such a waste to sell it. It's hard to find such treasure even in the Muhua God Mountain. I just want to see the Muhua God Mountain. I didn't think that much. Yemo smiled. Then Yemo raised his jade card. How come there isn't even a competition schedule and rule? There's just a jade card marked with a number. The man laughed and pulled Yemo over before saying quietly, This competition is just for collecting god crystals. There are nearly 3,000 people signing up. There will be a few million god crystals collected. There's no law, they probably just mark a number on the jade card to see how many are sold. What do you mean? Yemo asked. The bearded man said, When the mountain opens, it would be those God Corner people going in first. After they go in, the challenge starts. So this means that after the challenge finishes, those guys would have searched the mountain for a few days. Even if there were good things at the outskirts, they will be all gone. Each time the mountain opens, it would be a different location, so there are many good things at the outskirts. Even if you go in by challenge, you won't be able to get some things. EMO was speechless. They had no bottom line. They took God crystals and then went in early themselves too. Don't be too disappointed. Even so, those who win are usually Immortal Emperor peak stage or half divine. I need to tell you that some cultivators who have reached Tao molding divine emperor also come. If you see such a person, just admit defeat. The bearded man said. Seeing Yemo stop talking, the man pointed at a row of cultivation homes at the border and said, "You can use your magic artifact to set up a cultivation home there. I will be there too. 3 days later, the mountain will open. After people go in, the challenge tournament will begin." Yemo heard this and could only set up his cultivation home. Just when he stayed in his cultivation home, he knew he was being watched. At least 7 or 8 spirit senses kept scanning towards his cultivation home. Yemo was very speechless. There were no concerns here at all. These people were clearly onto him because he took out a God Heart Stone. One could imagine that if he failed the challenge, he would be followed immediately. But Yemo didn't care. He was very confident in the challenge. Even if he failed, he wouldn't be afraid of them. Out of the spirit senses that scanned at him, there was only one that was near half divine. The rest were just ordinary immortal emperors. Immortal Emperor was the peak of the immortal realm, but here, although they weren't at the very bottom, they were just ordinary. It was easier to reach Immortal Emperor in the God Necropolis domain because of the God crystals and the laws here. God crystals were much more powerful for cultivation than immortal crystals. 3 days passed quickly. Emo didn't bother to look what happened outside until the 3rd day. He felt the time chi form a clear flow and thus he left the cultivation home. The bearded man next door also came out. Seeing Emo shocked at the time flow, he laughed. This is the sign that the mountain is about to open. You see that time whirlpool on the sand clearing up? That's the entrance to the mountain. Thank you for your pointers, Tao friend. Emo quickly thanked. The bearded man didn't mind and said, "This isn't a pointer. Those who came to the Muhua God Mountain know this. Muhua means when you go and you're very young. But if you accidentally encounter a time whirlpool, you'll immediately become an old man." As the two spoke, a huge formation door appeared. Emo saw that this formation door was made using top materials but couldn't last long. Emo immediately frowned. Even if he successfully challenged, he would need to go in 3 days later. Could this formation door last 3 days? Those from the God Corners and castles already released their flying magic artifacts and went along the sand into the whirlpool. Emo counted. There weren't a lot of people going in, only 200 or 300. He couldn't see through the cultivation level of the strongest. They were definitely divine emperors. As flying magic artifacts went inside, that huge formation door dimmed down. A man whose power level Emo couldn't see came out into the middle and waved out 10 huge stages. There were powerful restrictions circulating the stage. Now, those who want to challenge, please enter the stage. The time is a day, 1 the incense burns out. Those who are still on the stage have the right to enter the mountain. Those struck off cannot go up again, otherwise, death. Before the man finished, people erupted. Isn't it supposed to be 3 days? There aren't 20 spots? How did it become 10? No matter what people said, the man didn't care and released a long incense stick that was lit up. There were no rules and anyone could challenge. They could even gang up on people. Clearly, those who went up first would be disadvantaged. The bearded man next to Emo sighed. "It seems I have no hope. Looking at this, no matter how strong you are, you will be brought down in the end." The man didn't say anything after waving out the stages. Even if no one went on the stage, he still sat there calmly. 5 minutes passed quickly. One blue-faced Immortal Emperor tertiary stage couldn't resist flying to the stage and placed his challenge jade card into the ring. When he landed there, no one challenged him, but more Immortal Emperors flew up. In the blink of an eye, 9 out of the 10 stages had someone on there. Before the 10th person could go up, an extremely white-skinned woman charged towards the 6th stage. There was a handsome-looking man on the 6th stage. He had a metal fan. The woman charged up and said nothing. She released a huge pair of scissors. It instantly turned into a huge scissors shadow and sliced towards that handsome man. Even though the stage was covered by restrictions, people outside could still feel the powerful and lethal force of the scissors. One could imagine that without the restrictions of the stage, that pair of scissors would destroy the nearby space. This scissors shadow's remaining power struck the border of the restriction, creating ripples. When people didn't fight, no one came up. When people fought, it was this intense. Everyone knew that the woman probably didn't come for the spot. She came to kill this handsome man. The handsome man saw this and yelled in fury, "Bao Huiping, are you crazy?" The woman said nothing and just attacked more and more crazily. There was even red mist appearing on her body. Clearly, she was burning her essence blood. Seeing this, the man released his metal fan that turned into a heaven-covering black cloud, stopping the woman's scissor shadow. Sword rays flew out of the black cloud, tearing Bao Huiping's domain to pieces and even some of her clothing. Bao Huiping didn't care and attacked more crazily. The blood mist surrounding her grew thicker. She was almost naked, but she didn't care and kept attacking the man like crazy. One could see how furious she was. Rumble. The scissors clashed with the metal fan as the scissors shadow dispersed. Bao Huiping was struck flying out. Her huge scissors smashed against her. She didn't even have the power to take her magic artifact away and just kept panting. The handsome man was covered in wounds. There were multiple holes in his fan. He didn't look as mannered as before. He walked towards Bao Huiping hideously and was about to strike with his metal fan. The audience saw this and sighed. Bao Huiping's battle will was stronger, but the difference in power between them was too huge. Just when the man was about to kill Bao Huiping, the scissors suddenly exploded. Countless shadows struck out, and in less than 1/10 of a second, they completely surrounded the man. The man reacted quickly and took back the fan, wanting to block the explosions, but even so, countless blood holes appeared on his body. Bao Huiping suddenly jumped up and struck out thousands of sword ray shadows. These sword ray shadows formed a huge thick net that struck the wounded man head-on. Splurge, blood light flashed, and in this short time, the handsome man was split into tens of pieces of meat. A terrified essence spirit seeped out. Bao Huiping released a flame and burned the essence spirit to nothing. At this moment, she finally eased up and put on some clothes. She picked up the storage ring and fan and jumped off the stage, disappearing into the crowd. Seeing this bloody scene, the rest of the people were a bit dazed. Although all means could be used, rarely did they see such a gruesome battle. No one would burn essence blood and god essence to go in, because without top-level medicine, they couldn't be recovered. After the bloody battle, more people fought on the stage. People were starting to get killed. At the start, people fought one-on-one, but later on, there were battle royales. The powerful being sat on the side and closed his eyes as though nothing mattered as long as you put your jade card in. An immortal emperor who was smashed down from the stage was extremely furious and wanted to go back again. However, a huge palm reached over and crushed that immortal emperor to powder. This immediately woke up the nearby people. There was at least one rule here, and that was everyone could only come up once. Gradually, the battle royale reduced, but Emo was in no rush. The incense had only burned less than halfway. He would only go up when it was almost out. Clearly, quite a lot of people thought like Emo. As the match went on, stronger and stronger people went up. An axe-wielding immortal emperor peaked stage, and a long-haired woman made Emo keep an eye out. He found these two beat their opponents in a few moves and didn't need to use much god essence. The blue-faced immortal emperor who went up first was still standing there. Emo also noticed a few half-divines who were planning to go on at the last moment. At this moment, a purple-robed man charged up onto the 5th stage. Seeing this, Emo immediately became excited. If he wasn't experienced, he would charge up. Luckily, he stopped himself. He would have to wait till the battle was over before he went up. Otherwise, he might be fighting a 1 versus 2. That purple-robed figure was the man he had chased from the immortal realm until here. The man that might have the 5th stone stool. Seeing this man, Emo made up his mind. If the man won, he would go to the stage and challenge him. If the man lost, he would give up the challenge and hunt this man. He wasn't going to rest until he got the 5th stone stool. The purple-robed man probably didn't expect EMO to come here. No one dared to scan their spirit sense around here. There were countless powerful beings, and those with strange tempers could kill you for any reason. On the 5th stage, the purple-robed man fought a gray-robed immortal emperor. The gray-robed immortal emperor had won 8 fights in a row, with one of them being 2 people ganging up on him. He killed 5 people and showed no mercy. His magic artifact was a blue lighting pike. It had an lightning effect. Ordinary immortal emperors couldn't stop it at all. EMO understood this way of competing. They would go on first and show their means to scare off people from challenging them. Seeing the purple-robed man come up, the gray-robed immortal emperor snarled. He killed 5 people quickly to scare people, and yet this insolent purple-robed man still dared to challenge him. He would kill the purple-robed guy quickly in case people came to challenge him again. When the purple-robed man just came up, the blue lightning pike was already released. Previously, his opponent used fist-sized lightning balls, but this time, there were heaven-covering lightning needles. Each one was a few inches long, and in the middle of the needle was a lightning ball that was larger than a fist. When these lightning needles and lightning balls fused together, the audience realized that they formed an 8-trigram formation. EMO didn't watch the gray-robed immortal emperor. He wasn't scared of lightning element attacks. He watched the purple-robed man. He probably would fight the man, so he would need to know his means. Although EMO didn't care about the lightning formation, the purple-robed man didn't have EMO's capability of devouring lightning. Before the lightning formation formed, he released a huge drum. EMO had how heaven drum and had only used it once. When he was weak, he didn't dare to use it. When he was strong, he didn't need to use it. EMO wondered which drum was stronger. With a dong, sound blades struck out from the drum. Even with the restrictions, some of the audience were affected. Those who were weak-powered moved back. After this initial sound, the remaining sound echoed non-stop with each wave stronger than the previous wave. The gray-robed immortal emperor's lightning formation slowed, and the lightning needles and balls seemed to have been stopped by the sound waves. The gray-robed immortal emperor's face sunk. He could tell this purple-robed man wasn't so easy to deal with. If it wasn't that his foundation was unstable, he might not be a match for him. In that instant, the gray-robed immortal emperor used countless hand signs. The nearby domain space ripple could be seen with eyes. The drum sound only stopped the lightning formation for a brief moment, and then it swept at the purple-robed man again. The purple-robed man was very calm, as though knowing this would happen. He activated the drum again. Dong dong dong. One sound was already enough to stop the formation. These 3 sounds was each louder than the one before. The formation surrounding the purple-robed man paused and was about to cripple. The gray-robed immortal emperor's face changed. He didn't expect the drum sound was this terrifying. Only he knew how terrifying the drum sounds were. Each sound would cripple his domain a bit, while the purple-robed man's domain was a bit stronger. Most importantly, the drum sound seemed like a huge hammer that struck the bottom of his heart, making him feel helpless. It was as though he couldn't even use his god essence and could only wait to be torn apart. The 3 sounds echoed again, forming attacks like tidal waves. The gray-robed immortal emperor couldn't hold it anymore. He spat out a yellow mist that immediately smashed on his lightning formation. Immediately, the lightning needles and balls exploded. Huge explosion sounds came that instantly covered the sound waves. Tens of thousands of these needles were activated and exploded, tearing apart the purple-robed man's immortal emperor domain. The purple-robed man's face changed and he struck the drum even more. Dong dong dong. 6 consecutive strikes and the sound blades instantly blocked most of the lightning needles, but a small part still pierced the purple-robed man. The purple-robed man's heart sunk. He didn't expect this immortal emperor had such means. That yellow mist could activate the lightning formation attacks and make them tens of times stronger. The reason he came up was not just for the Mu Hua God Mountain but for the blue lightning pike. Its origin wasn't ordinary. That's why he came up early. If he got the magic artifact, he would have reached his goal. If no one strong challenged him, he would stay on. If powerful people came, he would get off immediately. He had watched this immortal emperor for a few matches and knew his god art. He didn't expect the immortal emperor to have such a powerful god art up his sleeves. He received some injuries and couldn't hold back anymore. He struck the soul-robbing god illusion drum crazily. Dong dong dong. Fong fong fong. The sounds changed to a ghastly sound. Before it was murderous, but now it was ghastly, as though countless ghosts were passing by. Even the surrounding environment seemed ghastly. The gray-robed immortal emperor was calmer than the purple-robed man now. Countless yellow mist sprayed out. The lightning formation that had dimmed down due to the sound blade attacks were circulating with lightning again. In the rolling thunder, waves of exploding lightning arcs and lightning needles shot out. The Inchi drum sounds clashed with the needles nonstop and made all sorts of explosions. The fighting sound was gradually covered by the Inchi. Ordinary people's spirit sense could no longer scan in. Emo forcefully used his spirit sense blades to scan in and was very shocked. The purple-robed man was strong, but that gray-robed immortal emperor was equally as strong. Emo could tell that none of them used their trump card yet, but the battle was already of this scale. If they used all their trump cards, even he would need some means to kill them. If this continued, it would probably be the gray-robed immortal emperor to win. This was beyond Yemo's expectations. If the gray-robed immortal emperor killed the purple-robed man, he would go up first and steal the storage ring. Just when Yemo thought of this, the purple-orbed man patted his waist and a white scary huge skeleton wolf charged out. Yemo's spirit sense scanned this wolf. Its chi was at least level 9 immortal spirit beast. Yemo had spirit sense so he could see the skeleton wolf immediately, but those who didn't have spirit sense cultivation method couldn't see the skeleton wolf. They could only see from the rattling restriction that the battle was very intense. As soon as the wolf came out, it opened its white mouth and bit towards the dense cluster of lightning needles and balls. It actually looked a little like Shadowless. Because the wolf swept the nearby lightning needles, the gray-robed immortal emperor's domain opened up. Dong dong dong, 6 drum sounds came, and due to the wolf devouring the needles, there was a hole in the gray-robed immortal emperor's domain, and thus the sounds charged at the immortal emperor through this hole. The gray-robed immortal emperor was struck by the drum sound and spat a few mouthfuls of blood before flying out. Just when Emo thought the gray-robed immortal emperor couldn't do anything, he released another magic artifact. Emo watched this gray-robed immortal emperor intently. As soon as he released the magic artifact, Emo saw it clearly. It was a painting. There seemed to be some monks. As soon as the painting was released, the battle scene cleared up. Emo heard the nearby voices call out in shock, "Adamantium Great Vehicle Painting." There were some Buddhist sounds coming from the painting that blew away the Inchi. At the same time, yellow-robed monks flew out from the painting and released their magic artifacts, surrounding the purple-robed man and his skeletal wolf. Rumble. A monk smashed a metal staff on the wolf, and the wolf howled in pain, wanting to flee. Before it could run far, another monk appeared before it and smashed down. The wolf howled again and bit that huge metal staff. The monk twisted his staff and the wolf's teeth fell. The purple-robed man was dazed by this painting, but he immediately realized he was no match for the gray-robed immortal emperor. Before he could leave, 2 monks smashed down their staffs at his head. Emo's heart sunk. He immediately knew that the purple-robed man actually lost. Emo scanned his spirit sense at that gray-robed immortal emperor. He was shaking. He definitely couldn't control the painting. Even if he won, he would leave the stage. Seeing the nearby people seemingly wanting to go on, Emo didn't hesitate and flew up immediately while putting his jade card in. As soon as Emo came onto the stage, the purple-robed man had the lower hand. If it wasn't that the gray-robed immortal emperor had trouble controlling the painting, he would only have to attack with the pike again and the purple-robed man wouldn't be able to escape. But even so, the purple-robed man withered under the 2 metal staffs of the monks. The gray-robed immortal emperor was still holding on, but there was bloody mist around him. Clearly, he couldn't last long. Seeing Emo come up, the gray-robed immortal emperor suddenly woke up. This was the battle stage and one without rules. If he paid an extremely heavy price, then even if he won, he wouldn't be able to stop this man. Realizing this, the gray-robed immortal emperor was immediately going to take back the painting. Meanwhile, The heavily injured purple-robed man used the opportunity of the monk disappearing to suddenly go up and grab the painting. The next moment, he immediately took the painting and turned to leave. He didn't even want to take his main target, the blue lightning pike. How could Yemo let this man leave the stage? He immediately expanded his domain and hacked out with Zisu's crevice god art. It's you. The purple-robed man immediately recognized Yemo and tried to escape the stage with his life. Clearly, he knew he was no match for Yemo, but he was already at his wit's end. When Yemo activated his domain with full power, how could he escape? Yemo collected the lethal force around the stage and formed a murderous lethal force, locking onto the purple-robed man tightly. Rumble. The crevice smashed onto the purple-robed man's drum, creating a heavy thud. You want to rob the 5-element? Before the purple-robed man could finish, Yemo's crevice turned around to cut the purple-robed man in half. At the same time, he stacked his spirit sense domain on top, completely suppressing his sound. In his worry, the purple-robed man wanted to expose Yemo's purpose and retreat. At this moment, the gray-robed immortal emperor recovered and smashed his blue lightning pike out without hesitation. The purple-robed man could no longer block this and made a hideous cry before being sliced to pieces. When his essence spirit came out, it was still caught by the lightning net of the blue lightning pike. A blue light flashed. Yemo, who had been watching, caught it. There had only been a few seconds between Yemo coming onto the stage and the purple-robed man being killed. When the purple-robed man was killed and Yemo grabbed the blue light, most people realized and charged onto the stage like Yemo. There were no rules, and there was the adamantium great vehicle painting. Who would want to fall behind? The gray-robed immortal emperor was too exhausted. Yemo was much more powerful than him. When Yemo killed the purple-robed man, he already grabbed a blue light from the purple-robed man's essence spirit and took the storage ring. Leave my adamantium great vehicle painting. The gray-robed immortal emperor knew he was no match for Yemo, but when his painting was taken he went crazy. Yemo was planning to leave the stage now that 3 more people came up. When the gray-robed immortal emperor attacked him, he saw the Tao Vindication powerful being who set up the stage show killing intent. Yemo didn't dare to stay here. The divine emperor's target wasn't the painting but the blue bead he took. Yemo knew that no matter how powerful the painting was, it wasn't as valuable as the blue bead. Yemo didn't dare to keep challenging on a stage where there was a divine emperor lurking. He immediately brushed past the immortal emperors and used an instant transmission. A giant hand grabbed at Yemo, but it was only an afterimage of Yemo. How dare you, rat! The divine emperor saw that he missed Yemo and was furious as he chased over the space ripple. Yemo guessed right. This divine emperor not only wanted the painting but also the blue bead. When he saw the painting, he already messaged people to get the painting for him. But when the blue bead appeared, he couldn't handle it anymore. He knew the value of the blue bead all too much. It might be a 5-element world that was higher level than a truth spirit world. Plus, the purple-robed man spat the words, 5-element. Although he was a divine emperor, he didn't even have a truth spirit world, much less a 5-element world. That's why he suddenly attacked. Yemo decisively used instant transmission when he guessed the divine emperor's thoughts. If he was 1 second slower, he would have been caught. Can you escape? The divine emperor snarled and chased in Yemo's direction. Yemo was extremely experienced in running. How could he not know he couldn't escape a divine emperor's hunt? If it wasn't that the 5-element stool was too important, he would rather not rob the thing and leave. So when the divine emperor chased over, he chose the direction of the formation door. The dim door was still open. Yemo immediately charged in without hesitation and disappeared. The divine emperor came here and saw that Yemo dared to use this opportunity to get inside the Muhua God Mountain. He was even more furious now and charged in too without hesitation. Even if he chased to the ends of the world, he would catch Yemo and rob his items. See Yemo and that divine emperor powerful being both enter the Muhua God Mountain. The rest of the people all charged in. The door was already dim. After a few more people went in, its color immediately faded and soon there was a crack. The formation door collapsed and the tunnel inside was completely shut. Since they couldn't go in anymore, the tournament was pointless. Those who paid God crystals rushed towards the sign-up place. Moments later, a huge battle erupted. Countless magic artifacts and essence chi flows stirred. In the countless years, this was the first time something like this happened at the opening of the Muhua God Mountain. When another divine emperor came to hold the scene, the sign-up place was already beaten down and those who attacked all left. When Yemo entered the door, he felt time flow like water past his body. He felt he went from birth to maturity and then old age. Yemo was shocked. Luckily, just when he was still worried, he landed. Yemo knew he was in the mountain. His spirit sense scanned out and found he could only scan a radius of 1,000 kilometers. He didn't dare to stay here. As soon as he landed, Yemo instant transmissioned again. Doing that here was carrying his head in his hands. The space here wasn't stable and there was time chi everywhere. If he instant transmissioned into a time whirlpool, it would almost be certain death. Yemo had no choice. He knew that Divine Emperor would chase over. Yemo had no choice, but of course he could rely on the Golden Page world. If there was a time whirlpool, he would go in immediately. After a few more instant transmissions, Yemo used the 5-element mobility technique and kept changing direction. 2 hours later, Yemo used Earth mobility under an ancient tree. At an extreme depth, Yemo set up a stealth restriction and entered the Golden Page world. Unless a Divine Emperor specifically checked where he was, it would be impossible to find his Golden Page world. A few seconds after entering the Golden Page world, the Divine Emperor stopped at where Yemo last instant transmissioned. Yemo didn't know this, or else he definitely wouldn't dare to stay under the tree. He thought with all the time chi ravaging here, the space ripples he created would be extremely faint. Even Divine Emperors might not be able to find it after a while. However, this Divine Emperor did. The 5-element mobility technique created even smaller space ripples than instant transmission that would disappear in just a few seconds. The Divine Emperor stood for a long time. He even searched the ground carefully but found no sign of Yemo. "I don't believe you can get away." The Divine Emperor searched and chose a direction to keep chasing. 15 minutes later, the Divine Emperor who chased Yemo sunk his face. He completely lost Yemo's tracks, but he soon said, 3 months later, when the Muhua God Mountain closes, "I don't believe you won't come out." Yemo immediately checked his lifespan and meridians in the Golden Page world. When he went into the mountain, he felt as though his life was flowing away. After checking multiple times, Yemo was certain that his body wasn't damaged and he didn't lose any life. It seemed that tunnel didn't really harm the life of those who went inside. With this, Yemo immediately started to check the storage ring of the purple-robed man. Other than that huge drum, there were some god crystals and immortal crystals. There were also some ordinary immortal pill and immortal spirit herbs. Yemo didn't see anything he needed in the storage ring. He didn't even see the adamantium great vehicle painting. Yemo breathed easy. It seemed his guess was right, that Blue Bead was a decent level world. Since the painting wasn't in the storage ring, it was definitely in the Blue Bead. This purple-robed man's Blue Bead was countless times higher leveled than Qing Ru's Blue Bead. He threw the storage ring to the side and set up the time formation disk to start spirit controlling the Blue Bead. There were many Dao fruits and time whirlpools in the Muhua God Mountain. If you were lucky, you could learn time law near there. Those Dao fruits could quite possibly help you break through or comprehend a god art. If it wasn't for the purple-robed man's Blue Bead, Yemo would have charged out to search for these things already. To Yemo right now, the most important thing was to spirit control the Blue Bead and find the 5th stone stool to complete his Golden Page world. If his Golden Page world was complete, then he would have hope in Dao vindication. The time formation disk spun rapidly. A few years later, Yemo had completely immersed in the process of spirit controlling the Blue Bead world. 10,000 km from Yemo's ancient tree, a small hill surrounded by lightning light had more than 10 people. More people were still coming over. There was nothing on the hill but a 3-meter-tall gray tree. It had no leaves or branches. Instead of a tree, it looked more like a wooden stick. There were 9 blue fruits on it that were surrounded by lightning. If you put spirit sense on these fruits, you would feel the endless ages of time. The surrounding people looked at these 9 fruits greedily as though ready to go up and rob them. 2 more immortal emperors came to this peak, and a red-robed man called out in shock, "Lightning sound ages fruit?" As soon as he said this, he charged up as quickly as possible. "The lightning sound ages fruit isn't mature yet, you can't go up?" Before his friend finished, this man already charged up. This red-robed man didn't think much when his greed acted out. By the time he got to the middle of the hill, he realized things weren't right. He found that no one charged up with him. Those people didn't even stop him. "Not good," the red-robed man instantly reacted, but before he could turn around, he felt the endless ages press against him. He felt it was difficult to even breathe. At this moment, all he could feel was his life flowing away. The people outside saw this red-robed man slowly age. His hair turned white and his face withered. He turned very slowly, as though it took him tens of thousands of years to turn. By the time he completely turned, he was aged till he was only a skeleton. He looked at the people outside and slowly fell. When he fell, he still had bones. When he landed, his hair and skin completely dissipated. In less than 5 minutes, an immortal emperor middle stage died like this and couldn't even take a step before he died. The hill was still that hill, but those people standing outside had less greed in their eyes and more caution. However, no one chose to leave and waited for the lightning sound ages fruits to mature. For more dashing lights came, 2 men and 2 women. If Yemo was here, he could recognize at least 3 of them. There was the young mistress of Hung God Corner Hung Wanman, Nyo Runin, and the horse face. "Young mistress, this is the lightning sound ages fruit," an old man called out in shock. He was the strongest of the 4 and someone Yemo had never seen. "It really is lightning sound ages fruit," the young mistress gasped. Nyo Runin clearly knew less and asked, "Elder Nyen, young mistress, what is lightning sound ages fruit?" Elder Nyen said, "Lightning sound ages fruit is a Tao fruit that can help one learn time law. If you get one, you can use it to learn time law God art. It's priceless. It can grow under a 5-element environment or mutated environment. This lightning sound ages fruit is growing in lightning element chi. If you use this ages fruit to learn time law, you can have a sliver of lightning in your God art in time law. It's extremely precious." Nyo Runin took in a cold breath. She had been in the God Necropolis domain. How could she not know the terror of the time law? There weren't many who learned time laws in the God Necropolis domain, much less those who were experts in it. Such a Tao fruit that could help people learn time law was insanely absurd. Just as they were speaking, a few people suddenly left. "Elder Nyen, since there are lightning sound ages fruits, why don't these people fight for it? Why are there people leaving? Is there danger on this mountain?" Nyo Runin asked. Elder Nyen nodded. "That's right, if you charge up to a ages fruit before it's mature, then it's suicide. It's completely surrounded by time whirlpools. They will disappear when the fruit matures. If you go up before the fruit is mature, it's suicide unless you're a powerful being that has complete mastery over time law. However, those powerful beings are at least primordial essence divine emperor. They wouldn't come here. Those who left know this, so they left here to find other treasures and come back in a few days, or they went to contact their friends so they can fight for one. There's at least half a year before the fruit matures, by the looks of things. So that's it." Nyo Runin looked at the ages fruit and knew this was something that she could never get. "Young mistress, why don't we go look for other things too? Staying here for half a year is a waste," Nyo Runin said. The young mistress's face was full of uncertainty and trouble. "Elder Nyen, I suggest we wait here. It seems that it's going to take half a year to mature. But look at the top of the blue fruit. There's a yellow mark. It might actually mature in 3 to 5 days." The young mistress sound transmissioned. Elder Nyen nodded to young mistress with approval. "You're right, you don't need half a year for these fruits. I only saw those yellow marks later. It seems it's not just us who saw this. Those who didn't leave probably all saw it." The young mistress smiled and said nothing. She just sound transmission to Nyo Runin and Horseface. "When the lightning sound ages fruit matures, Elder Nyen and I will go up to take it. Runin and Martial Brother Wenyen get ready to help us at the outskirts. We'll leave as soon as we get the fruit."